Yo, what is going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown, episode 434. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
Go to the far side of Endor, and then it will stay until called for.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Carlos Romero. Yo, yo, yo. Adam Vale.
How you doing?
Brett Murdoch.
I need to get around to designing a Discord icon.
Brian Majoma.
Our prayers were not answered, and we got something dreadful.
Oh, boy. And joining us once again, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Richard Bailey Jr.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Right, so, Rich, slow week, right? In gaming, nothing happened. Oh, man.
Well, yeah, absolutely nothing. Nothing important.
Yeah, like, shit is real when I didn't have to put show notes on. One thing took over the entire conversation, and that's all we're talking about tonight, man. We got to talk, and we're going to do it in order, too, because something happened at the beginning of the week. Now, something happened at the end of the week, and they're all related, all about Xbox tonight.
Well, I'm surprised none of it's about Tears of the Kingdom, which is out.
Yeah, well,
I mean, come on now. When that dropped, and everybody everywhere. I mean,
wait, what?
Yeah. Oh, there's Carlos, man. Oh, yeah. We can sneak that in, but we got to talk about Xbox, man. Let's start off with Redfall. So the review embargo lifted, and to pardon the pun, sounds like the game sucks. But we're not just going to talk about other people's reactions. We have three dudes here right now who have played the game. So I'm going to hand it over to them.
Wait. Yeah. There was also another thing.
Well, no,
that happened before that. Before that, the leaked impressions and reviews. We forgot that that happened.
That was only one guy, though.
That was ACG. That was his thing posted, and then he pulled it right down after that.
Some guy never heard of. So yeah,
you've heard it. What do you mean? We're always talking about it. Are you kidding me? Brian and I always talk about this dude.
Yeah, but all I remember was like, yeah, but you're right. That didn't happen. I was just like, oh look, an influencer broke embargo. Big surprise there.
No,
accidentally
don't put him in that
broke. I will.
No, don't. Not him. He's not like those guys. He's not like any of those dudes. Once that happened, he pulled it. He didn't let it sit up there. He never even talked about it. In fact, he changed it after that. When it did go up, his thing came back and he said, in progress.
Yeah. All right. I have my doubts about that, but we're not going to talk about it. Anyway, so yeah, Redfall, Rich, Adam, and Carlos have played it. They're going to tell us about it. So, Rich, why don't you start us off about this game of the year?
Break it to me easy.
Yes. All right. Well, let me start off. Let's start here. About last week, this time when you guys were recording Throwdown, I received the email stating that, hey, we have review codes available. So myself, Carlos, and Adam decided to get codes so we can play the game. And I thought it was very interesting where it said the embargo ends on May 1st at 8 p.m. Eastern time, which basically was about 5 hours from the actual release digitally, because it comes out at midnight. Yeah, so we decided, let's go ahead and let's start playing now. Friday night rolls around. We all jump on Xbox. Let me just say this. I had a good time playing with Adam and Carlos, but yes, the game has a lot of issues. You can see it from the very beginning. I know Adam made a comment, and Adam is going to talk on this soon. When they were talking about the 30 frames per second, we saw it as we were shooting enemies in the game, how certain stuff looked off. Just a lot of stuff with the cinematics. There was one scene that we saw at the very beginning after we completed the first mission where it just shows a whole bunch of images and screens. There's no audio, nothing like that. I'm like, oh yeah, this is a disaster.
It was like still frames. They didn't even do full cinematics. Yeah, it was just still frames with some voiceover.
This is a AAA game. This is a quote unquote a AAA game. Like this is only stuff that you see from like what's the Wolf Among Us people?
Telltale.
It's like a Telltale cutscene. that they did on those, and it was really bad.
Like FPS first-person shooters have to be in 60. It's very noticeable, the performance. 30, it's different if it's a third person. It's all right, but for a first person, it's very noticeable. And that's one of the first things that we noticed. But keep going, Rich.
Go ahead, Rich.
And prior to that, because I'm sure Carlos, he did speak about this. We even had an issue, linking up to start playing together at the very beginning. It felt like maybe 10 minutes or so before we were able to get in a session together and start playing.
It was weird, too, because we were trying to do cross-platform play, because Carlos was running it from the PC Game Pass.
Yeah.
And he would see Rich, but he couldn't invite him.
No.
What was it?
I couldn't even see him.
Oh, you couldn't even see him. And then I could see him, but then I couldn't invite him. There was some weird back and forth. Eventually, we got everybody in a group. I think, did you jump on the Xbox? Was that it?
No, I jumped on the Xbox and then I tried it again and it still couldn't work. So what we ended up doing, because I was hosting the thing, what we ended up doing is Adam had to be the host. Yeah. And he had to invite both me and Rich into his session. Mm-hmm. But me and Rich couldn't even see each other.
That was a trick. I did it outside of the game because the game was still, I remember I sent you the screenshot. It would still have his name grayed out. Rich's name was grayed out. Carlos was fine, but Rich was grayed out. So I went through the Xbox overlay, and sent the invite from there, and then he received.
I tried everything. I peered online. My NAT settings are open. I favorited Rich, which I hesitated to do because
that's true. I get it. I understand. You gotta be careful.
So we just started off with a couple of connection issues, but with everything Rich mentioned earlier, and Rich, let me know if you're already done with your take, because I got thoughts about this.
Oh shit!
I got some quick thoughts. I got some quick thoughts.
Yeah, so I have two other quick things I want to mention. Then I definitely want you guys' thoughts. So obviously, when we stop playing, now I'm thinking to myself, hey, we'll probably get a chance to play this again, right? Because we only played on Friday night together. But a game is bad when I don't hear from Adam or Carlos, and even I was like, nah, man, we don't need to play again. Let's not bother doing that. Oh, man, but I will say this: I did continue playing the game on Monday because initially, when I received that email about the embargo, I thought the embargo was supposed to end on Monday morning. But because I saw, this is later into the day, so I decided to play some more so I can do my review. And I just want to say, as I started to play more of it, now I saw a lot more problems with the game. Some of the mission structure, a lot of the things that you do in the game are very repetitive, because the first mission we had to go to this fire station. We had to get power to the building, and pretty much that became the base of operations.
And kill one vampire that was in the basement, because, got turned on the power in the basement. So we went down there to do that. That was the first mission. But see, the missions that followed, like if they have this whole thing about when you get to safe houses and trying to establish other safe houses, it's the same process. I have to get power to the safe house. I have to clear it from enemies. And then after that, I would finally be able to get access to it. But then what happens is, as you get deeper into the game, they have these bosses that you have to fight. And you have to find them first at the location they have on the map. So I did one of those boss battles. I want to say that was very underwhelming, because again, it's the quality of the game. And I wrote this in my review, I said, I saw a lot of people saying this is the worst game of 2023. Now, I'm not going to tell you it's the worst, because I haven't played every game in 2023 yet, but I will say it's probably on that list. But what I said is, if you're a fan of Arcane and you enjoy Prey, you enjoy Dishonored, you enjoy Deathloop, you can tell this game, it doesn't feel like it has any of those qualities in it. And it's supposed to be a different world all its own, but it doesn't feel, it kind of feels like it's a half-ass effort, in the sense that they've only just begun to build upon it, but they haven't really finished the final version of what it actually is supposed to be. I never liked any of those games.
Yeah.
Rich, let me ask you a question, just to make sure I'm understanding correctly. Like,
Sure.
do you think the core problem with this game is its concept or its execution? Insofar as like, is it the fundamentals of the game was just not designed well, or that it's got problems, or both?
That's a good question. I think it's a combination of both. But for me personally, I think it's more about the creative vision that they had for the game. Because if you've played those other games, there were just a lot of things about those games that made it really stand out. The soundtrack and the when you use a weapon, it feels a certain type of way. I don't get any of those feelings in this game. It just feels like it's a very average. Like, again, this was a template that they started. They started to build something, but they didn't finish it. Obviously, they didn't add a lot more personality to what they're doing in the game, and you can tell that from the minute you start playing. But I don't know how many technical issues were on the PC. I'm just talking about the Xbox Series X, so I have to make sure I mention that because I don't know if the PC version had anything worse than what we encountered on the Xbox.
Yeah, and I think both Adam and I also played on the Series X.
Yes.
So Carlos, what's your thoughts on it?
So Brett's question came out at a very poignant time because he asked whether it was the execution or the concept of it, and like Rich mentioned, it's both. The main issue is the concept because it doesn't know what the hell type of game it's trying to be. It's like, is it a looter shooter? Is it one of those wave shooters? A sandbox game? Like, there's nothing from this game that stands out. Rich mentioned you can't think about, whether the shooting mechanics are good, whether the there's no story. It doesn't even have cutscenes. The shooting mechanics are not good. And, the music's not memorable. What the loot is like not even almost non-existent. I mean, at least doesn't compare to like sort of the Destiny or Borderlands types games. So it just doesn't stand out or do anything good. It's like really bad at everything, which is kind of hard to do. And that's the issue with this game. Not to mention, and this is something that we didn't experience as much because we didn't, and maybe Rich did because he put in a little bit more hours than we did in the game. But everyone's talking about it. It's the all the glitches and all that stuff. It's just a combination of everything that it's not good at, and it sucks because and we'll talk about this later. But there was an interview where they talked about this game taking a chance and being like a new type of game. This isn't a new type of game. This is someone that saw like, what's popular these days? Let's try to implement everything. But it doesn't do anything good.
Do you think they were trying to do more of a Division thing?
No.
That's the thing.
They were trying to make something new and they didn't know the direction. They had no focus. They threw a bunch of stuff together and then mixed it up and was like, oh, wow. When they take a step back, it's like, this doesn't have any personality. What the hell is this? Well, this is what we made. This is what we got. We added a little, because remember we had one developer said, it's like a Left 4 Dead. Another developer, it's more like Borderlands. I don't know what we're talking about. It's more like Borderlands. No, it's not like neither. What the hell? It's a hodgepodge.
Yeah. What about the claims that I'm hearing that the game is just boring?
Well, that was. I mean, if you're done, Carlos, then I'll.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because
Carlos, did you finish? Because I'm not.
Yeah, Carlos, it's up to you, Carlos.
Just real quick, to answer that question, yeah, it's the world is very barren. It doesn't really. There's not much to do in it. Like Rich mentioned, there's a lot of repetitive stuff, and yeah, it's like the world is not not enticing to discuss, to traverse. That's another thing. Even here's one thing before you go, Adam, and this has to do with you. What is Adam's one trope in gaming when we play co-op games or when we play
exploring shit, right?
Exploring, getting all the goodies. Gotta get all my goodies.
Yeah.
He didn't do any of that in this game because this game did not lend to that. It didn't entice Adam to do what he loves to do in video games.
There's nothing there.
Yeah. Go ahead, Adam. That's pretty much what
that was the thing. When they first off, right off the bat, everybody knows this. There's no, they can look through the old episodes. I was never hyped on this one. I wasn't hyped on it. I don't like Dishonored, any of those Dishonored games. Never played Prey. I played Deathloop, I think 2 hours, then I rage quit and deleted it. That was enough. I had no more loop time for that shit. 2 times and I'm done. I can't. So when they were like, "Oh, we're making this game," I was like, we saw the trailer, check with the afro and all that. I'm like, this looks like Left 4 Dead. We'll see where this goes with Vampire. Then when we saw that gameplay reveal trailer, remember they're like, "Oh, this is what it looks like." I'm like, this looks dumb. Not even interested. But the weapons, you could teleport. You can have your guy go invisible, and it was like, whatever. Doesn't do anything. But we give it the benefit of the doubt. We play it, and it's just bland mission design gameplay. It's just go here, save this guy. Oh, okay, kill this enemy. They're like, "Oh, there's this monster in the basement." We go down there. We have basic guns. I had a pistol. I don't know what you guys remember. We had basic guns, and we melted this dude. It was over. I was like, okay, now what? Now go out in the world and go be somebody. You got regular, I guess, other survivors that we have to fight during the day because there is a day-night cycle. And even those guys, remember, I went freaking Leroy Jenkins. I just walked up to these dudes with a pistol and was blasting them in the head and just running through. We were finding ammo for weapons we didn't even have. That's the other issue. They drop a weapon, we can't even pick that up. We pick up ammo for it, but we couldn't pick up their weapon. I killed the dude with a shot. Go ahead.
What's one thing, and this is the question to the panel, what's one thing, that always happens with Adam? I think Adam, out of all of us, is the one that dies the quickest.
Yeah, because he always just runs up to people.
He Leroy Jenkins. He Leroy Jenkins, and in this game, he died once, and it was because he fell off a cliff.
Yeah, I fell off a cliff. But you know what? That was great because then that discovered a different problem. You can't fast travel to your team. So you can look at the map and you can fast travel to safe houses that you've discovered, but you can't fast travel to your team. So when I fell off the cliff, because we had to do this little hop around to these ledges and stuff, and that's the other thing. The map layout is horrible, because we're like, how do we get over there? Is there a path? Well, then just climb these rocks, It's like, and then you slip, and then I fell. No problem, right? I'm back at the safe house. Let's get to where the guys are. I look at the map, I see them, can't do anything. Click on them, nothing happens. So now they have to wait for me to go all the way through again to get to that location, just so we can play. It was horrible. But then again, everything was really bland from the location that we were at. It just didn't seem like this destroyed community with the vampires. And I get it's supposed to be an island, so it's not like a big city, like a Division type thing or whatever. It's like, but it looks so empty. And the character. The guy, I forgot what his goal was in life, but he was like a writer or something. Just stumbled across the town, saw people needed help, and decided he was going to become a vampire killer. Well, that doesn't explain how he's also killing random people, And there's dialogue in between the characters, and it's comical. They're trying to pull the Left 4 Dead type of thing, cracking jokes and stuff. Oh well, I need this. Oh yeah, you should get that. Oh, no, that doesn't work. Doesn't work.
Yeah, and one thing I will add to, as Adam said with the characters, I played as the college student, the female college student that they kept advertising, all over the campaigns. She has telekinesis powers, but they don't go into any explanation of how she got those powers. So clearly, they took the magic that was in Dishonored and said, let's throw that into this game as well, because that worked very well for Dishonored. So, like Carlos said, it has an identity crisis in terms of trying to figure out what type of game it is.
Yeah, they threw a bunch of different things together, and it just didn't work. It didn't work. It didn't mesh, and it's a shame. It's a shame, because I get, and we'll talk about it with how Phil described of just wanting to give these people freedom to try something new, and that's great. You want to do that. We've seen it before, other games where people branch out and they make something that's completely out of their wheelhouse, and then it works. That hi-fi rush and stuff like that. But this just didn't work. This didn't work. Now, the question, and we don't have an answer. Phil didn't answer it, so it's not like I'm jumping ahead. Are they going to keep supporting it? Is this going to be a No Man's Sky situation or Cyberpunk?
He claims that they are going to keep supporting it.
I don't know. The way he danced around that topic was like, well, we live and we learn. That's what I gathered from it.
Well, if I could respond to that, I'm going to say they need to keep working on it, because the codes that we received was the Bite Back edition, which is $100. You have a $70 version of this game and a $100 version of this game. So the people that actually paid money for this game, they definitely need a better game. So I think they need to definitely work on this. But again, I don't know whatever Arcane is doing at the moment.
I don't know if they ever announced a roadmap of like, oh, we're gonna have new maps, new locations, DLCs coming later on.
You know what? I haven't seen any of that, and maybe that'll be something that they talk about at the Xbox showcase.
Maybe if they fill up the world, but that was the problem. It was so empty. Everything was bland. Everything is clean. And it shouldn't be clean. It should be gruesome. Everything should be destroyed because these vampires have been killing everybody there. There should be blood and guts all over the place. But that's not the case. And then it's a currency system. I hate games that do this. It's like once you unlock an area and like, oh, here's a doctor and he's going to hook me up. And I go to talk to him and I see price tags for everything.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, so what now? What now? I kill these. What the vampires are going to have money? Well, no, you got to scavenge around. So every time we go into a house, and each house looked like they were cabins from Friday 13th. You go through, you look around the drawers, you pick up some money, or you kill the human guys. Still not sure why. There's like a cult on the island, right? Some of them say they're part of a cult, or we have to kill them all now. Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame because I see where they were going with it. I'm sure the elevator pitch sounded awesome. Or get everybody on the island. There's vampires attacking, and then the people that are there have to figure a way out. Like Escape from New York on an island with vampires. Are you ready? Yeah, and we're gonna throw in a cult, and it's gonna be nuts during the day. So they have no peace during the day. They can't go for supplies. They got to fight these guys. At nights, they got the vampires. Sounds great. The delivery was not great.
Damn, man, that sounds like crazy. Does anybody have any questions for these guys about this game?
Vampires. Why did it have to be vampires?
Yeah. All right. Let's get to the real thing here, man. So today, I had to watch this shit twice, and I took notes. That's how you know it's real. So. Today, the Xcast, the kind of funny Xcast, they interviewed Phil Spencer, right? And these guys didn't hold back. They asked him some tough questions.
We got to remember the key part, which wasn't brought up until the end, when Paris said that this was already planned way before.
Yeah, it was.
So it wasn't like it's him coming out to say, I got to talk to the media and clear this up. This was planned, I guess, to hype up, Redfall's launch. It's great, blah, blah, blah. It was supposed to be a hype piece, and it turned into... But he didn't back out. He didn't back out. He went for it.
Yeah, no. And apparently, one of the guys there. I by the way, I had no idea that Gary Whitta is like in the game industry. I thought he was just a screenwriter.
Oh my god! How long? He's been in it for like over 10 years now.
I had no idea. I thought he was just a screenwriter. With some bad takes. Anyway, so Gary Whitta said that apparently, he was supposed to have Phil Spencer on some show of his like a couple of years, like during the coronavirus or whatever, the lockdowns, just to talk about whatever.
Animal Crossing. He has one for Animal Crossing.
But the news dropped that Halo would not be shipping with the Xbox, and he was expecting that, okay, Phil Spencer's going to back out of this interview. He came on and he answered all the tough questions. So history repeats itself. They were planning to have him on for something else completely. And then this happened, and he didn't back down. He answered all the questions earnestly, and obviously, some waves happened, in the gaming community. So let's go through everything he talked about piece by piece. So, like I said, I took some notes here. So let's get into it, man.
How many took a minute?
Yeah. So again, we're gonna go through everything he talked about. So the first thing they just wanted to get the shit out of the way was the whole battle with the CMA, right? Because that's part of the first bad news with Xbox. Like CMA blocked their merger or wants to block it. So Phil Spencer just said that they're going to continue to work with the CMA and FTC. He's disappointed, obviously, and he said something that I agree with. He says the CMA's version of cloud gaming doesn't exist yet, right? Like, the CMA believes that Xbox is the king of this cloud gaming empire that doesn't exist, which goes to my point from the Sunday show, that the CMA doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about.
They're trying to build to it, but they're trying to build the technology now.
Yeah. But the point is,
and he even pointed out that
they're casting judgment on something that isn't even established yet.
And he pointed up even that they did pass the gaming aspect. The console is no longer the issue, which was originally the concern. Which also points back that if worst case scenario, like what we brought up during the questions on Sunday, is that if they go forward with this, if the EU approves it, they could easily close at that point and say, you know, we're done, we're buying it. Just out in the UK, you guys aren't going to have cloud services, but you'll have the game. There you go, Pete.
Yeah. It's just interesting that he brought that up. But then obviously the bulk of the conversation was about Redfall. And Phil, again, he said some very interesting stuff. He apologized to the Xbox community, flat out apologized.
He took blame.
Yeah, he took the blame. He said he's upset to upset the community that the game didn't meet the internal expectations of either Xbox or the Bethesda itself, right? They developed,
but he went deep on something that was fantastic because no one knew this, and this was great to hear. Because when they asked him, it's like, "How did this happen?" And then he was like, "Well, this is how it happened. That studio, when we pulled them in, when we pulled in a lot of other studios, we sort of like introduced ourselves and introduced the resources and other studios and got into that. We didn't do that with them because of their pedigree. They have big titles that the people have liked. They have a track record. They said, this is what we're working on. They showed them and they let them run their thing. And the reason why it's a big deal is because when we heard all the stuff with Starfield having issues, now it's all hands on deck. Coalition is involved, a few other studios that they have, Microsoft Studio, they're all hands on deck working on it to resolve these issues. His fault, and this is why he takes blame for this, is that he never really approached them to say, hey, are you having issues with anything? Do you need help? More like he didn't want to insult them by saying something like that. But still, he should have, or even if whoever's playtesting a build should have said, hey, this is kind of bland. Maybe they need some help with this. But he didn't do it. And
he said that basically the game was already in development when they acquired them. And he admitted, he's like, we should have checked in. We should have had more scrutiny. We should have checked in more.
Yeah,
they just let them do their thing. There was no quality testing on the part. And he admitted, he's like, we fucked up. We should have actually looked this over. You know.
Well, he said like a couple things in there that I found interesting too. Like he said like they have a pedigree. They've released great games before. We still think they're a very great studio, which I thought was great. But he also said this is one thing that really stuck with me. He said, if you're talking about technical issues, sure, because they had asked about delays, and I'm not going to try and get ahead of us here, but like he said, I will apologize for technical issues. The thing I won't apologize for is our studios deciding to express their creative freedom and pick the kind of projects that they want to do, and we're going to continue to support that, which in a very weird way kind of felt like a bit of a good thing, because I think we've all been kind of concerned that they're just going to be micromanaged to death and all life is going to be brought out. So it's nice to see. It's nice to see somebody supporting their company even when they take a fail. You know what I mean?
Let's just be real. He's saying this about a Bethesda Zenimax studio. He ain't saying this about Coalition 343.
No, that's not a Zenimax. No,
Zenimax. No, it's Arcane. It's not Bethesda or any. It's just Arcane.
But Arcane came from Bethesda, didn't they?
No.
Bethesda publisher. That's how they acquired.
Arcane is under Bethesda.
Yeah, but it wasn't in-house. I don't know. When I think of Bethesda, I think of Bethesda like the in-house studio.
They publish for them. They publish. Same publisher, different developer, but yeah. So like they were never part of Bethesda Studios. They were just under the publishing umbrella, I think is the difference.
Yeah, that's why I said Bethesda / Zenimax. Like
exactly.
That's why he's like, it's easy to say like, oh, we give them autonomy, but that's because that's the lip service that they're doing for all the new studios that they recently acquired like 2 or 3 years ago.
Well, it sounds like they are giving them a lot of autonomy, even to negative.
Too much.
Response.
Like, that was his point.
The game was in development. The game was in development long before they even acquired them. So it's like
exactly. But that's the issue. Wouldn't you, if you were the owner of a company, wouldn't you send somebody and say, "Hey, go see how that game is doing that they've been working on? Is it almost done? How's it?" It looks like no one went over there to do that. That's the problem.
Well, they did. They did because he said during the interview, he said the game, because remember
The
someone,
mock
I think
reviews. He said the mock
the mock reviews, and he said they weren't good.
Yeah.
Actually, what he said was that the real reviews were 20 points lower than the mock reviews. You know.
Yeah. So that he didn't say it was bad, but it didn't sound like it was going to be great. But it didn't.
They really thought this was an 80 type game.
Yeah,
I guess so.
Yeah, like apparently. By the way, I need to take a little bit of a detour here, right? Because I saw a lot of ignorance about what mock reviews are. You know, basically, mock reviews are it's internal. You get an actual reviewer to review your game, right? But it's only internal. It is not published on any publication. It is only the internal studio reads it and they go okay, and then they base their opinions off of that, because people are thinking that these mock reviews are being published. No, they're not. They're just internal use. But what I found interesting about that was like basically there was a big disparity between the mock reviews and the actual reviews that were like published.
And
like,
are they missing the word mock?
You guys need better mock reviewers then, if that's the case. You know,
well, dude, even that
in there,
or
some wild shit.
Or the issues that they addressed.
Because I saw a lot of ignorance on the timeline about that.
Or if the issues that were addressed by the mock reviews were told that they would be addressed and weren't.
No more Phil Spencer talk, guys. Keep going.
Wait, what?
Not. I'll keep going.
Adam was talking.
I don't think he hears us.
Yeah, Tony, can you not hear us?
Tony, can you not hear us?
Yeah, he apologized for Redfall, obviously.
He doesn't hear us. He doesn't hear us.
Am I not hearing anybody else? What the fuck's going on?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Hello.
Hold
on. Something's going on. Because if I can't hear you, the people in the chat can't hear you either.
It sounds like Microsoft has hijacked this conversation.
I was going to say,
more smack.
Was this call developed by Microsoft?
They got us.
They just bought Discord. They're like,
they just bought it. It's like, got trigger words. They
keep going, guys.
All right, but
what? So can you hear us?
I don't know. He said keep talking.
I think he's working on it on this end.
I think we can hammer on the conversation a little bit more.
But I mean, if we can't be heard, what's the
No, they can hear us. They can hear us.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just Tony that's out. So.
Oh, okay.
So I guess one thing I want to say is I think if there is a silver lining in this, to me, it's one of those like, well, I guess I prefer that they undermanage their studios than overmanage their studios, but this is probably something they need to learn from. But what I remember what it was.
But here's the thing: undermanagement should only happen when you have built that implicit trust. If you just acquire somebody and be like, "Hey, well, you've done good work in the past, so I'm just going to let you do your thing," it's like, no, you don't know them. Like, you don't know their processes. They don't understand what you expect of them, so you don't have that trust built up. You have to have a couple titles in the bank under the new management before you go, okay, we know they know what we want, they know what they're doing, but you always have to check up on progress. You need to iterate and present stuff. You can't just go, oh, well, here it is, and it's a hot mess, you know.
That's the Fable situation, right? Isn't that what happened with that? They sent somebody over there, and then that person came back and said, no, scrap that whole shit. And the same thing with that Platinum Games. Remember? Same thing with the Platinum. It was like, oh, somebody went over there, and it's like, yeah, this is a hot mess. We can't release this. Don't even keep funding it.
So, I get the strong feeling that this thing is like, it's been a problem because, like, you know, even their mock reviews thought it was, you know, it's 20 points lower. They thought it was going to be an 80, right? Like, they thought they were releasing an 80 game, you know, a pretty good game, and they were satisfied with that. And due to, you know, based on some of the stuff he said, really leads me to believe that even internally they believe that the problem with this game is a core concept of the game. And no amount of delays would have fixed what the major problem of the game is that
it lacked direction.
It did not achieve the creative direction set out by the developers. That's a very nice way of saying this game was just kind of fucked. And even if you delay it, you may fix the bugs, but you're not going to fix the core problem of the game kind of fell flat. And, you know, I would feel like that's a passing the ball, but he said, you know, that's my fault. I take full responsibility.
I mean, we're about to see another one happen soon with that the WB game. What is it? The one that we saw, remember, with the characters running around, Harley Quinn and all of them? What's
Suicide Squad.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Because that's the other. It's not a technical thing. It's just the delivery. It's just the presentation. No one wants that type of game. And then it's like, what do you do at that point? Even if they delayed it, unless they rewrite everything, it's gonna still come out that same way.
Well, there is somebody that wants that game. It's Warner Brothers, so that they can make some money. But
they want a good game. They want a moneymaker.
Warner Brothers doesn't care. Yeah. Come on, it's Warner Brothers.
I can hear you. I don't know what the hell's going on. It seems some people in the chat aren't happy with the J-Shep. Do you think we're taking Phil's side? Is that what's going on? Again, we're just going off of what he said.
I'm taking Phil's side in that I agree with him that he fucked up.
He fucked up. Yeah, I
mean, he admitted. I don't know. I don't understand what you want Phil to say.
He didn't pass blame. Like say, oh, well, the studio handled it. I'm busy doing other things. He didn't do anything. He said, you know what? It's on me.
Do you also think it's funny that we agree with Phil when he said that he fucked up?
Yeah.
Or should we just not agree with that?
Yeah. Should we not agree with him on that? Yeah. Like, no, Phil, you didn't fuck up. I disagree with you. I think
the best quote from that interview didn't even come from him. It was more of when Gary would have pointed out that this is a lose for everyone, for people on all platforms, because then this discourages publishers from creating new IPs, from putting money into new IPs, because they see something like this happen and like, you see, and how much money did they put on this? This is why we're making another sequel of this damn game, because it's established, it's safe. We will play it safe.
I was okay with that statement, but not the PlayStation part. The PlayStation fans don't care about this, so I did laugh when he said that, because they're like, no, they're enjoying this.
I remember when Gary would have mentioned this, and maybe he said it wrong, but he mentioned something like to the tune of, people like. I'm scared that people will not get brand new experiences because this is because Redfall was trying to be a brand new experience, and I'm like,
it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
No. I think it, meaning like on paper again, the elevator pitch, what they were going for was supposed to sound something different from what we received.
If he would have said like a brand new IP, like from brand new IPs, I would have understood. It would have made more sense.
It's still a new IP. It's not a franchise.
No, but he didn't.
It probably could have if it was great. Then we get a bunch of Redfalls. But
he didn't say that. He said new experience.
No, hold on a second. I might be the one. I'll fully admit out of the gate, I might be the one that took this wrong to begin with. But I thought he was talking about management style. He was talking about how he agrees with giving companies the opportunity to flex their creativity and do something they want, as opposed to just making them make a carbon copy of the last successful game that they made. And I think he was saying that approach is the thing that if you don't have that approach, then you are stifling creativity, and we're all just going to get the same game over and over again. Right? I don't think he was saying that Arcane.
He did say that, though. He did say that, Brett. I agree with you. But he also said that what Arcane made was something original, and that
I think he was really treading the line. He was trying to be nice. You could really tell. Arcane tried to do something original, but they failed.
Yeah, that's what they were going for, because like I had brought up before, where the one dev was like, "Oh, it's like a Left 4 Dead," another was, "No, it's like a Borderlands." No, it's something in between. It's going to be crazy. It's going to have the best of both worlds. It's going to be fun. They had too many hypes on it, and they didn't deliver on any of it, and that's the problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think it's that if I think he was defending his managing style at that point in the conversation, saying that we need to keep approaching games by letting the studios have the flexibility and the free reign to really do their creative thing, and that's not going to be excused. But the very large part that I kept hearing was it didn't work this time. We figured it's the studio's pedigree. It didn't work this time. It kind of rung to me that I'm saying like it didn't work. It failed. But it's not because we approached it the wrong way, and we're going to continue to approach it this way. This game was just kind of fundamentally flawed from conception.
It sort of reminded me of like a parent who like finds out like with the kid was like from those commercials like, why are you smoking? I learned from you, Dad. I learned from watching you. I learned from watching you. And it's like, that's everything. Like he said, if only I was there for them. Like, if only I listened, if only I asked the right questions. If I would have asked them, like, hey, you need help? I didn't. But that's when he came up with the Starfield thing. We have all hands on deck, all our studios, all our resources. If they come across a roadblock with something going on, in the engine, we pick up a phone, boom, somebody's out there and helping them out. So that's great, but they didn't offer that, or they didn't have that support for this game, for Redfall.
Bro, this sounds like a dad that let their daughter get on the pole.
There you go.
Here's the one thing that's not getting mentioned though. When was Redfall reviews?
Reviews on Monday, weren't they, or Tuesday? One of them.
Yeah.
Monday night.
Monday night.
And they gave you that thing that night, right?
Yeah.
It was like they gave it to you like last minute. They knew what they were doing.
They knew
exactly
what they knew. Here's the thing. They already knew it wasn't that good of a game. So again, like the telltale sign whenever one of these companies do this stuff, right? When they come in the last minute and say the review is like due tomorrow and they give you the review code in like 24 hours. Yeah, they're trying to control. They're trying to control the narrative when it comes to that thing. So
there are exceptions. There are exceptions, like that Dead Island 2. We thought that too. They pulled it. They were like, no, we're not sending reviews out. And then all of a sudden, it did pretty well. It came out all right.
It came out all right, but I think they fully expected that game to be to not get because of the state that game is in too. So it's not nearly as bad as Redfall, but it's.
But people seem to like it. It's got like 7s and 8s. That's an average. It's all right. That's not
okay.
But I'm saying, like, they knew. Like, here's the thing. Like, I'm sure they had an internal review, and they're like, "Oh man, we just set to some shit. All right, this thing. There's still excitement for this. Well, okay, we got to send this stuff out. All right, make sure we don't give them early copies, so we can at least get something out of this, and then we can correct after."
Yeah, go ahead, Brett.
I just want to I understand that this is like a major fuck up. I mean, there's no other way to put it. But like, why is everybody trying? Like, did anybody actually pay $70 for this game? And if so, like, why?
I don't know.
No, nobody.
Like, when we keep having the conversation around like $70 games, I'm like, bro, you should have just gotten like. Honestly, and I don't want to sound like an ad for Game Pass, but like, don't trust fucking day one releases, man. Just pay $15 to try it, and then just go.
That's the whole issue that and I'm glad you bring it up, because it's the thing that I've mentioned since day one. We're gonna start getting these experiences, and what it's like. Oh, you can't criticize it because you got it for free on Game Pass.
It's not free. It's still paying the service, but at least you didn't pay the full price. Yeah.
It's that built-in excuse where it's like, oh, well, I'm just trying out games. No,
it's not a built-in excuse.
The absence of expectations are set at that point.
Don't pre-order games that are day one releases. Don't buy that shit. Be smarter with your money. Just pay the $15 if you really want to play it.
Yeah, or just here's like a smart idea. Like, just don't pre-order any game that costs $70.
Yeah.
Don't pre-order games. Period.
Pre-order games. Period. Yeah.
Every $70 game this year has just been really shit on launch.
Yeah. Don't pre-order games in general, people.
That reminds me. That reminds me of the review title that Tony and I saw saying "good enough for Game Pass," which I thought was hilarious. That's a hilarious title.
That was Engadget. Yeah, their review for Redfall said "good enough for Game Pass."
I would accept that. I would accept that. It makes perfect sense because it doesn't hurt the wallet. It reminds me of the Callisto Protocol. That hurt. Okay, that hurt me. Purposely didn't want to touch it. I was like, no, I'm gonna buy this. I'm gonna be hyped. This is gonna be great. And I was let down, and that hurt. See, with this is disappointing for somebody if they were hyped for this game and have Game Pass, but it doesn't hurt the wallet. They're not like, damn, I could have.
Yeah. Hold on, I'm sorry. I gotta cut in. Blitz. No one is saying it's okay to charge $70 because the game's on Game Pass. No one on the panel said that, bro. What are you talking about? And then
I said the opposite. It's ridiculous to pay $70.
Exactly. Yeah. And then J Shep has a comment here. Why are we to believe that Phil Spencer didn't know the state of Redfall development, but made sure the embargo wasn't lifted till the day of the embargo? That's not his responsibility. That's not his call. That's marketing. They handle that shit. Phil Spencer is not overseeing every single little thing going on here. That's the marketing department. They handle that stuff. That's PR specifically handling the review dates and embargo dates. Phil Spencer's not in charge of that. You know? Yeah, Phil, like this is the way it works, guys. Like I understand some of you guys want to pin every single thing on Phil, but the guy literally took responsibility for the things he was responsible for. He is not in charge of PR. He doesn't tell PR what to do. PR handles that stuff, as Rich knows. You know.
Oh no! Beyond that, the structure of a company, when you are in his position, is you are delegating roles to other people. Right? His failing was delegating to the wrong people and not following up at the correct times, which means this failure is almost definitely linked to somebody else's fuck up. But he is not trying to pass that buck. He's saying it was my job to watch that person, and I fucked up. Therefore, it's my fuck up.
So can I?
Go ahead.
Can I? I just want to make a comment and say I'm glad you said that, Brett, because there's one individual that people haven't been talking a lot about, and that is Mr. Matt Booty, the head of Xbox Game Studios. Because this guy, Phil hired this guy to basically watch all the studios. So I would like to know what he has been doing since Halo has come out, because Xbox hasn't had any first-party games since then. That's why I'm saying what's going on with all the other games. But
we'll see if he gets featured in Endeavor.
We'll see. It's funny, Rich. The instant you were saying that, Logic went said, "Where the hell is Pete Hines and Matt Booty?" Yep.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
There you go.
Where are these guys at, man?
We'll see when we see they put their resignation or they move on to other things. Then we know.
J Shep asked a question in the chat. He said, "Is it logical that with the current state of Xbox after an $8 billion acquisition, it was a little bit less than that, that Phil left them, that Phil left them to make the game on their own?" That to me sounds like Phil inserting an excuse for the state of the game. What do you think? The game was already in development long before Xbox even came into the equation. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty hard. It's pretty hard to.
And again, Phil Spencer admitted that was no excuse. He needed to look it over. He admitted that. So again, I don't understand what you guys want.
Yeah.
You know, the guy admitted he fucked up.
They want him to get the Singapore cane on the back. That's what they want.
Yeah.
That's what they want. They want him to get his 20 lashings.
Yeah.
You know,
like the ass was in Singapore. I remember that.
Exactly. There you go. That's a deep cut. Bring it back, people.
Yeah, Google man. I still hear that shit in my head, man.
And that's what they want. Remember, that was breaking news. And then we had all right, the lashings have been complete. The lashings have been complete. He's still alive.
But again, I don't understand it. You guys are mad at us or upset that that we believe Phil Spencer. Yet when we believe him that he fucked up, that part's fine.
Yeah, you know what's funny though? The Ubisoft dude, was it good? What's it good? Tormo? What I keep
Guillermo.
Guillermo. Remember that nasty email, pretty much blaming the devs for the failures of the company. Okay, we could all attack that because the dude doesn't want to take any ownership. Here it is. Phil's taking ownership. Yo, I screwed up. I should have did more for these people. I should do it. And then people still upset. It's like, what do you want? You want him to pass the buck and blame the Booty or somebody else? Oh, well, I signed that dude. He didn't do nothing. You know what? I have to go. Here's his phone number. Yeah, call him. Get him on this podcast. I'm out. No.
They want seppuku.
Yeah, right. That's what it
but,
sounds
you know,
like.
I mean, and the thing is with Phil Spencer, and he notices this. He is the boss of the bosses in an Xbox. So when things under him are not working out, it's a reflection of him, and he agrees with it because he's not hiring the people adequate enough to do their jobs or to do what they're supposed to do, and that goes on Phil also. So
he has bosses. We could see his ass get replaced.
And he talks some doom and gloom stuff too during that interview. It's like, you know.
We're gonna get to the really spicy stuff later.
Paris was like, "Yo, let's think about the positive." There's nothing positive right now. He's like, "I'm upset."
he said, like, "I'm sorry."
Paris was like, "Let's get some happy, or let's get to some more happiness." And Phil's like, "Fuck that."
No,
I'm depressed.
I'm not in a good mood. You're not gonna get happy out of me.
Yeah, not happening.
Here's something I want to clarify for chat real quick.
Okay, 'cause I got another comment from J Shep I got to read, but go ahead, Brett.
You can go first.
Okay, he says, an apology alone was never going to be enough for me. I just don't believe a lot of what he says. He's lied for so many years.
I don't see how he's lied for all these years. He just hasn't had the production. But when he said he was going to buy a bunch of studios and he was going to try to change things up, he did.
Well,
he said he was going to create Game Pass. He did.
I will say this.
It just hasn't been panning out.
I guess it depends on what you think a lie is. But let's give this example. He mentioned it during the interview. They announced
60
Redfall
FPS?
as a 60 FPS game. Yep. And that didn't turn out to be the case. So it's
for the console, for the PC, because when he saw it,
he never clarified.
That's what he said. It was a clarification because he knew that it wasn't the console one, but that's not how they were advertising it when they showed that off, and that's what upset him because he was like, "Well, I know this is 60 FPS, but this isn't for the console. They're not clearing that up."
Yeah,
I don't think it's so much that he lied as that he failed.
Yeah, he failed.
Yeah.
You know, because remember, you got to understand, a lie is intentional. He didn't say these things intentionally to deceive people. Yeah. You know. Go ahead, Brett. What were you gonna say before you forget your point?
One thing I want to clarify for the chat here is like I think the reason some of y'all may be confused is like, yeah, it's not that we're like, oh, you're forgiven or oh, you didn't fuck up. I think at least for me, it's that I have this inherent thing where when somebody steps up and they said, I fucked up, it's my fault, I'm gonna try and do better, and they seem genuinely upset. How do you react to that other than like, that was a respectable response, I suppose. Yeah, do better. Yeah, I agree.
He didn't even have to do this. He didn't have to do it.
Yeah.
That's it. He could have had a PR thing. Let Arcane deal with this shit. They should have become
he could have done that. You're right. But for some people, and I'm not gonna blame you for that. That won't be enough. An apology it won't be enough. So it is.
It won't be enough, but it's the best you're gonna get.
Yeah, exactly.
Yo, man.
It is the best possible scenario in this situation. I'm sorry, I fucked up. I'll try and do better. Okay.
So I do have a question though. For those that are angry, would they rather Phil said nothing and they just go right into the next showcase event in June, pretend like none of this stuff happened, or do they? That's what my question is. Do they want him to not say anything at all?
Yeah.
Well, and
again,
this is why.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because a lot of people criticize Paris for all kinds of things, which is not just, especially now because he asked those serious questions.
I wanted to bring that up real quick. It's like for all you people that call Paris an Xbox show, look at this interview and tell me he's an Xbox show with those hard questions he brought.
Yeah, he brought it up. It's like people want to know how can they see any positive in any of this if these games keep coming out. Yeah, you bought all the studios. That sounded great. And then one after another, they're underperforming. They're not hitting any of the strides in the numbers. What's going on?
And by the way, just to add in one little quick thing, I was in a Twitter space earlier today that Paris was in.
Yeah,
he actually said that interview was supposed to be an hour long, but it got cut because they were having technical issues connecting to Phil. But he had a lot of other things he wanted to talk about that he didn't get to talk about. And again,
that makes sense because that interview ended too abruptly.
Yeah. Stuff like the shortages and all the other concerns. He wanted to get into that, but they didn't have enough time. So
because we have 40 minutes. You figured to at least have an hour, but yeah. Again, I'm going to read more comments in the you guys in the comments are fire tonight. Let's go. So Brett, J Shep specifically is asking you, how many times can Phil Spencer say he's sorry, that he'll do better?
What makes you think I forgive him? All I said was, look, man, all anybody can ever do is own up to their mistakes, try and be better, and be transparent about it.
But he's asking how many times are you?
I'll answer this for me. Quick. This is quick. Which is one, and that's with Gears. If he screws up Gears, if that game comes out as hot duty, I swear I will smash my damn box.
Damn.
I'll stream it. I'll set on fire on the street. I will.
Damn.
I'll go to Brett and like a gangbanger removing a tattoo for the game. I'll take the Gears off my shoulder, the tattoo. I'm like, you killed my brand.
Adam's gonna take a cheese grater to his tattoo.
A cheese grater. I want to pull a Sons of Anarchy with a fucking flamethrower. That is the only thing. That's as much as people like. Oh, would you like the Xbox? I like the interface, and I have one real IP that I like. I'm not really big into any of these other IPs. All these games, whatever. I don't give a shit. Gears is mine. That is it. And if he screws that up, and I was concerned because even when Paris had asked, all right, you got the showcase, let's talk about something positive, anything. I'm like, oh, if he's going to answer that, he's going to say, well, we got something good that everyone's waiting. At least, the original guys with the Xbox, that was an original IP. We're going to get Gears. No mention of that. That concerned me. Because that game has been pushed back over a year, and I get it. They were moving everything to the new engine. They did that trailer. They showed it. Okay. Well, we haven't heard anything. They've gone silent. Besides hearing that they got the Netflix live action and the animated series. Yeah. Well, where's the game? Where's the games? And if that drops the ball, I'm done. I'm out. So to answer the question, that's the one. I can't forget. I can't.
Yeah, real quick, Adam, because there's a comment for you. This is from Blitz. He goes, see, this is the issue. People like Adam always jumping to his defense. Phil admitted he knew it wasn't going to be 60 on console when the previews went out showing 60 FPS gameplay.
That was for the PC.
Yeah.
That was the thing. That was the PC. That wasn't the console. It didn't say console 60 FPS.
Yeah, and again, we said this on a previous show. This is a problem that the game industry has had since the beginning. The publishers will always show you the best version of the game. They always
do that.
Even back in old in those magazines, those pictures were doctored. Those screenshots were doctored too. They always do this shit.
Watch Dogs. Remember Watch Dogs? We were all hyped about
remember Watch Dogs. This is not an excuse. We're just saying
the Division.
They always do this shit. They always do this.
Kill Zone with that crazy trailer showing us everything.
Well, how about
Cyberpunk? Yup.
Halo 2?
Halo. Yeah, they all do this. This has been happening. This is not an excuse. We're just telling you it's always like this. Transparency would be nice, but you ain't gonna get it. No. Because again, remember they let the marketing people handle that stuff. That's why that's why the first trailer you almost always see is always a CG trailer because they just want to get you hyped, and they let the marketing people handle that stuff.
Marketing, they do the trailers, they do the cuts. Was it Blinks or Binks or whenever you see it at the beginning with those little splash screens and it shows all these companies? There's one that's pretty much does all of them. That's their job.
No one's saying you should suck it. I'm just saying you got to understand this is the way it is. So what we're telling you is don't believe shit until the game's out. How about that? That's the only way you're gonna know because these companies will try to show the best foot forward no matter what, and that's just how it is. Yeah. Again, not an excuse. That's just how it is.
No, that's it. Well, no, it's okay. Hold on, I want to jump back because I feel the need to directly answer the question, so you don't think I'm skirting it. What he said towards the end of the interview of people shouldn't believe any hype. They shouldn't believe anything that anybody's saying to them. The thing that they should believe is when they have the game or controller in their hand, if they're having a good time, that's when they kind of expect you to kind of be more on board, not before that. And so when somebody says, I'm sorry, I fucked up, and you say, okay, well, how many times should I believe you? He himself said, you shouldn't. Yep. You shouldn't believe me at all. You should believe me when we have proven ourselves. You should believe me after we've proven ourselves, not before. And we've got a long hill to climb up. And yeah, I agree with that. And again, whether or not you believe him, whether or not you're mad at him, my question to you would be, what's a better response?
Yeah, that's exactly.
If that's not the answer, what is the answer?
I don't know. I think people just... If they hate, they hate.
No, some people are going to say there is no answer good enough. To which I say,
well, that's what he said. He said,
but you know what? Okay, that right there is bullshit.
He clearly said he was like, there is no answer. I don't trust him. That's it.
Well,
so it doesn't matter.
Then I'm gonna counterattack here and be like, that is bullshit. Because at that point, you need to be like, okay, so what's the realistic answer? If we're not living in this world of fucking make believe and fairy tales where he's going to commit seppuku and send us all a check for $10 for our trouble. What is the actual fucking answer here? Yeah. Because we can all sit here and play shoulda, coulda, woulda, make-believe land, bullshit, whatever, but I prefer to live in reality. What would a CEO do in this situation that would make you happy? And if your answer is nothing, then I'm sorry, you're wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole thing, rhetoric can go, so far, but our wallets go even farther. And Microsoft sees that when, they even admit it's like, we can't take over Xbox and Sony and Nintendo. He knows that pretty well. So it's like, I know, I feel like a lot of this outrage, we talked about all of this stuff, like everyone does it, but somehow you're only getting like triggered when it's Microsoft, and we're talking about Microsoft. I don't know, I don't know where the energy is for the other consoles. And this is me who thinks that, Microsoft is a shell of itself.
Yeah, I gotta address.
Well, it's a hate for the company. Real quick. I just because this is only related. It's only related, and then I'm back. It's this came up also just with the hate of just Microsoft itself all over the place. There was a lawyer who was talking about it. It was on one of the news outlets talking about the same thing we're going with the CMA stuff and the FCC. He said, where were they when Disney bought Fox and started putting all that content behind their services? There's private paywall and this. No one gives a shit. Because no one cares. They don't hate Disney. With Microsoft, they have this history of just distrust and just people hating them in general because of how big they are. And so that's what it is. So I think that people, maybe it's a subconscious thing and they don't realize that they're doing it, but they already have a bias against them just because of the name.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. I just got to address this one thing Blitz says here. Okay, well, I'll just shoulder shrug and go, oh, well, my bad, and just go, oh, well, my bad for believing the previous one presented in good faith. Okay, and you're my homeboy, right? I'm not saying this in a bad way. I just got to be as blunt as possible. Yes, it is your fault that you take this stuff in good faith. You shouldn't take this stuff in good faith. These people are lying to you. That's what all PR is lying to people.
That's it.
You should not believe any of this. None of this shit is okay. This stuff is not presented with good faith. The only thing they care about is getting your money. This is why they lie. They will always lie to you, and they've been lying to you for decades. This is not new. Sorry to be that blunt, but no, you should not believe these people. It is your fault for believing them. Don't believe them. Don't believe them until the game drops because they're all lying to you.
So beyond the game, so what about all those pharmaceutical commercials you see where people need heart medication?
All that shit
they're laughing. They're all. You think
about those McDonald's? Okay, do you see those McDonald's burgers and commercials? Try to eat that in real life. What's presented, you'll die because all that fake shit that's in it to make it look good. All that shit is lies, man.
Why do you think I don't buy games at launch anymore? Like, why is it that I'm the one like? Why do you think that I'm like one of the few people like on the panel who's like, yeah, I'm not going to buy a game like at launch. I'll buy it like a year after. Because again, I have just gone to a point where I'm like, okay, cool. Everyone's a liar, and I'm just going to ignore them and buy it later.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Like it all makes sense now. It's like, oh yeah, I don't like when Forspoken came out and they had like that CGI trailer, and again, Tony and Carlos were hype, and I was like, no, but I want to see some gameplay. Like I want to see the game being played. I want to see the game that they're selling rather than the marketing. And
can I Brian?
That's why I am the way I am. You know,
Brian's smart. That's smart. That's why he gets games like a year after the fact, after they've been fixed. They're all broken now. But we got to get to the crazy part of what Phil said. Okay. Well, anyway, so. Before that, we got to talk about this, right? Another thing he admitted, I'm glad he did. Paris rightly said, hey, remember all those games that you announced that were coming up in the 12 months? Paris first said, like, you guys didn't exactly meet them. And Phil said, no, we didn't meet them at all.
Yes.
Like, damn. My man just said it. Like, no, we didn't meet them at all. And this goes back to something we've told you guys before, because you've asked, why don't game companies, reveal what they're going to be working on so we know what's happening? They can't do that because plans are always shifting. Making games is not like making movies. It is very different, So, yeah, all those plans that they laid out, nothing came to pass. And Phil admitted that, and I'm glad he called it out too, So, yeah, again, don't believe this stuff, man. You got to take everything these people say with a grain of salt.
Including Phil, Blitz, including Phil.
Yeah. He goes, so we can't believe previews, etc., but we should believe Phil. You should believe him when he said he fucked up.
Yeah, you should believe him.
Again, I don't understand what the hell you guys want. And I'm sorry to get upset. Okay, again, you don't. You're saying don't believe Phil. We're saying, hey, we believe Phil when he said he fucked up. What do you want?
Phil said don't believe Phil.
Yeah. That's it. Don't believe
So, like,
me.
where do we go from there? Do we disagree with Phil saying you shouldn't believe Phil, so therefore you should believe Phil?
Yeah, it's not like he came out and said, you know what, the game is messed up, but you know, we're going to keep patching it. We want you to go buy it. It's going to be awesome. Don't worry. Believe me. I'm going to make sure it's fixed. He didn't say any of that. He didn't say any of that.
Let me try and put it in another way, right? Okay, we can see that Phil messed up. Phil can see that Phil messed up. So when Phil comes out and says that, oh, we messed up, then we believe him because we see that he messed up.
Yeah,
exactly.
And again, Phil Spencer didn't make those CG trailers. He didn't do that shit. It's like, come on, man.
If Phil said that there's a way for Redfall to get better, I won't believe him. But he never said that, so I can't disagree with something he hasn't said yet.
Exactly.
Or when he says, and by the way, he wait for E3 all over again. It felt like this whole interview was just a wait for E3 moment. And we've been calling this out for freaking years. And I don't know why, somehow we believe in Phil. We call this out every freaking year. We always get delayed to the next summer when there's a big presentation, when they're going to show the roadmap. We've been going in this freaking carrot on a horse on a carrot thing for fucking years now.
Oh,
and I don't know.
Well, that's why he didn't even want to talk about that.
Yeah, no, that's actually a great point to what Tony said about advertising and whatnot. Look at it this way. In a perfect world, Phil would have come out, and when they said, what's up with all these games? He would have been like, all right, so this is where this is at, this is where this is at, this is where this is at. But if you watch it, and I don't think I'm the only one that saw this, he clearly wanted to say some shit, and then kind of went, you're just gonna, we always want to put things out. Like, he pretty much had to give the wait till E3. I mean, it's clear he can't just come out and say the shit that they're working on because the advertising department's like, no, we have to reveal this in the perfect way. Mm-hmm. And that's not going to be you apologizing for our fuck-ups on a podcast. So, like, when talking about, like, being honest, everything like that, like, there's a perfect example of, like, again, don't believe Phil, but I also don't believe him when he doesn't have anything to say there. Like, I think that, yeah, we're probably going to get some announcements. Are they going to be good? I don't know. At this point, I'm just kind of like, we're just going to have to fucking wait and see. Which, coincidentally, is also what Phil says to do. So it's not so much that I'm agreeing with him. I'm like, yeah, you did fuck up, and I'm not going to trust you anymore. Yep, we're on the same page about that. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, you should always be skeptical of these companies.
Yeah, I haven't pre-ordered a game in years. Dude, when I wanted to play the beta of Diablo 2, I went out and suffered through a mediocre, and that's putting it generously, KFC sandwich to get that beta code. I could have just pre-ordered the game. No, I suffered.
Yeah, it's I don't really the whole thing with believing Phil is just you take things with a grain of salt every time. And when he says something that is clearly right, like I fucked up and we haven't done anything good and I didn't handle Redfall correctly, they're like, yeah, you're bringing up the obvious, like a Michael Pachter prediction. The whole thing with Microsoft is just, it sucks. And by the way, I do want to mention part of the hypocrisy of the interview. They're trying to pepper him up, be like, it's like, hey, you guys are trying to create new experiences. We're trying to be like hands off from our studios because we want them to be creative and stuff. We don't want them to be just a factory of games. Like, so let me get this straight. You're making Redfall, which is unoriginal. You have a Halo factory. You have a Gears factory. You're remaking Perfect Dark, and you're remaking Fable. So it's like, I don't know. It's hard. That's
fandom. The other ones is just what people always want. But I think he's talking about bringing new IPs. And this Redfall, even though it wasn't creative, like I said, the elevator pitch, it sounded creative, sounded different. It just didn't play that way. It comes off very generic. And it's and all these games, if they all come out like this, then it sucks.
No, Fable was a product of that being a failure in and of itself. They had a studio on it that had done nothing but produce driving games, and they're like, we want to make Fable. And they're like, sure, give it a try. And then unallowed amount of time later, they checked in. They're like, how's Fable going? Dear God, burn it all down.
That's it.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to it, man. The comments at the very end that have set the internet on fire. So Phil Spencer, and I'm glad somebody on Twitter actually posted the quotes. I'm just going to read them. We're not in the business of out-consoling Sony and Nintendo. There isn't really a great solution or win for us. I know that will upset a lot of people, but it's just the truth of the matter. When you're in third place and the top two players are as strong as they are and have a discrete focus in doing deals that make it difficult for Xbox as a team, that's on us, not on anyone else. Our vision is that everybody on console has to feel like they have a great experience and that they're first-class citizens, but they're invested a ton in our console. But we're not in a position, I see it out there, I see commentary that if you build great games, everything will turn around. It's just not true that if we go out and build great games, that all of a sudden you're going to see consoles share shift in some dramatic way. That's bullshit. Yeah. And then the last thing here, because, let's go on that. So you're basically saying like they can't beat Sony and Nintendo at selling consoles, so they got to try this other stuff, the cloud stuff specifically, And yeah, he said
I didn't take it as that. I thought he
that's what he said. He
There's some context there,
but the way you're seeing it though, the way I heard it. When he made that comment, it was like, oh, you're doing what Microsoft does. You're going back to software. You're focusing more on software. That's the Game Pass. Buying studios. What is that? That's controlling software. Yeah, they have a console you can play it on, but that's not their thing. They're not trying to beat Nintendo or Sony to whatever. Oh, we got the better consoles. They're trying to make the best possible console to play these games that they're producing on all these other platforms. Because they're a software company, and that's what it sounded like.
But Adam, I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I'm saying that they're basically doing what Nintendo did 20 years ago. Nintendo's like, okay, we can't beat these guys at strong hardware. Let's do something else, right? And we've been saying this specific thing about Xbox that, hey, they're doing this Game Pass stuff because they can't compete with Sony. We've been saying this since the middle of last generation. So none of this stuff that he said, I'm like, oh, he's admitting it, but we've been saying this shit on Throwdown for years.
But there was a big reveal in there.
Yeah, go ahead, Brett.
Like the context of that was him saying, because I want to further clarify, he was saying this generation is a continuation of last generation, where you already have an established title or established library of digital titles that you're not going to play. And he said Starfield could get an 11 out of 10, but it doesn't mean you're going to go sell your PlayStation, right? He's saying that, like they can integrate into the space, but it's going to be difficult pulling competition away from their competitors who are already entrenched and have been entrenched for years and have a lot of money invested in their digital library. And I don't think that's unreasonable. He's saying that we can't go back to the time of discs where every generation essentially restarts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Brett, I'm glad you brought it up because I'm glad he brought it up because even I didn't think of it that way, but it's true because in the past, and I've admitted, I'm like, I wish things were, I'm one of those guys that wish it was the way it was, but it isn't. Basically, we had a reset every time a new generation starts. Yeah. That's not happening anymore. Now you have it, like, and he said they lost the worst generation last gen because last gen is when everybody started building digital libraries. So if you have a PlayStation 5, what incentive do you have to get an Xbox when you already have all your PS4 games playable on your new console? So that was a very good point that he brought up. It illustrated just how hard of a fight Xbox has. I thought it was hard enough already. It is way harder now, especially with the bad press they have and all this stuff. So yeah, I'm glad he brought that up because it's like whoa.
And that's what he was saying about the PC.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I gotta call bullshit on the overall premise of it that he tried to wrap it up on. He said that, and this is obviously paraphrasing, but he said it doesn't matter how many great games we release, we'll never catch up to the competition. I'm like, have you tried? It's like how many like great games? Like, have you ever tried to make great games, or what's going on? Because
it fails every time.
You don't even how can you know that this won't happen when you don't come up with a consistent amount of great games? It's on them. They have that. This is not putting the onus on that and the fact that they can't deliver and being like, oh, we have to do something different. We can't deliver on the titles. You have to do something different.
I got a question.
Go ahead, Chris. Yeah, go ahead. And you first, Adam, and then Chris.
Well, yeah, they never encouraged any creativity.
Yeah.
This is why Bungie separated from them. It's like you guys are the Halo studio, and it's like, well, we have other ideas, and it's like that's nice, make Halo, right? And then when they didn't want to do it, it's like, okay, we're going to put together this dream team, we'll call it the 343, and they're going to be the Halo studio. So instead of pulling in talent and going, hey guys, we need to really be competitive in this space. We make a console, Nintendo has a console, Sony has a console. We need more first-party stuff. We need enticing titles, not just go keep dipping in the Halo well, keep making Gears, keep making what we always make, and these guys are going to make it. And it's like, but those guys might have other ideas, and then you foster talent, but you don't have them actually do anything but churning out the same thing over and over again. That to me is not
Halo. That's the thing. It's like if they would have said that, it's the same. When they launched, what did we say? Even now, it still feels like Halo. The gunplay, everything, the universe still feels like Halo without Master Chief. So
well, I mean, that's just one example. It's like, but has he ever gone to Coalition and said, "Hey guys, all right, we need a broader strain of IPs. Do you guys have any RPG ideas or whatever?" Why not?
Together because they were put together just to produce Gears games. That's when they first announced.
No, but that's the problem. That is a huge problem. You don't put together a studio just to churn out one thing. You don't want to create an assembly line. Like assembly line development is what is causing their problem in the first place, right? This is why you have to go out and buy 15 studios, right? Because you're not fostering any kind of creativity within the company, right? So they keep acquiring stuff, and they're like, okay, well, we acquired somebody who makes Japanese RPGs, and we acquired somebody that makes tactical games, and we're going to acquire Bethesda, and they have all this litany of RPGs, Western RPGs, and where we have that covered, right? But you can't have them just do that. Like they could do a broad range of things.
But it's a catch. Isn't that how they got into this? Because that's how we got into this problem. Because then the Arcane decided, well, we've been working on this other one. All right, well, fucking do it. Let's see what happens. And then it sucks. And I was like, all right.
Yes, but it's not every idea is good. You have to vet ideas, right?
Of course. Yeah.
So if they come to you, it's like, hey, we have this vampire looter shooter. I mean, it's like, do you really? It's like, all right, let's see it. Let's see a concept. And if you look at the concept and you see this, what we got, you're like, okay, move on, guys. Like this isn't going to work.
Yeah, and that's my whole thing. It's like you can't say you were ever at the big boys table. Well, they were on the 360 days, but like it's like saying, if only, it's like saying, I couldn't get that girl without even asking her out.
I also felt that this is also still, remember, he still has these court cases with the CMA and all this shit going on, and I think they're also playing that up just like a bunch of other bullshit. But the one thing that does make sense, and this is what we've all talked about, what's one of the beauties of having a PC? What's one of the best perks? Well, besides that,
the fact that you can play games from like 40 years ago.
You could play games from 40 years, and that's what he was also talking about. It's like the days of just getting a new console and having all these games exclusive to that are done because everyone is so accustomed to just for all their media to get on other services and devices. And it's great, and then people want to play these things, these older movies or music, or whatever,
Game Pass
and they
has
can't.
An extended
and games can do it. It's not even that. It's just the PC itself offers all of that. It's just focusing more on software.
Well, that kind of shows why I think that they're going with the Game Pass thing. Because if you look at the problem of how do you tempt people away from a digital library they've already cultivated, it seems to me that Game Pass makes even more sense in that light. Right, like, well, I mean, the games that you would have probably. I can't say that there's most of the games I bought on PlayStation have come through Game Pass at one point or another.
Have they?
Yeah. Well, yeah. But and then that was right toward that same segment.
Not exclusive.
Yeah, I was about to say, not the exclusive.
Well, that's what's in. Yeah, and he was talking about
games, not the games that people care about.
It was like the ROG and the Steam Deck. He's like, look at those. There's nothing. There's no exclusive.
I didn't know Jedi
systems. But it can play all these games everywhere.
About.
Yeah,
you can play.
No. The people that buy PlayStations, and a lot of the people that buy PlayStations buy them for the exclusive titles, for the God of Wars, for the Spider-Mans, for the Ghost of Tsushimas, and all those titles. Those aren't going to Game Pass. So when Phil talks about, it doesn't matter how many great games we release, people won't gravitate to our console enough for it to move the needle. It's like if you make games that people care about, then you'll move the needle.
Yeah,
you haven't done that.
I disagree with the statement that if they make great games, it's not going to make a dent. Like, no, that's going to make a difference. But I do think that he identified a problem of we do have entrenched ecosystems. I don't think that's unreasonable to view that as a problem that needs to be overcome.
But people aren't buying PlayStation 5s because, you look at all these PlayStation 4 games I can play on it. I really doubt that's the biggest reason why people are buying PlayStation 5s.
It's not the biggest reason, but it is a reason. You have to admit that, at least. That's a good reason to not migrate over to Xbox. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but if Microsoft released games that people gave a shit about, then people would have gravitated towards that.
Okay, but that's the point. That's the point, though. If you're on Xbox, you're in the same position. You're like, hold on, I got my games here. I don't want to go.
Hold on. No, because here's the deal. I think what they were saying was, no matter how many great games Microsoft releases, you're not going to get rid of your PlayStation. The best they're going to do is be there as well, right? They're not going to change the market share very.
Yeah, no one's going to say. Yeah, go ahead.
They'll still be third, which I disagree wholeheartedly on.
No, they're always going to be third. They're never going to be a Mario unless they can create a Mario.
So no, it's not even that. Like, okay, like you said, we'll use the example. Starfield comes out. It's amazing. You cannot live without it. So you're okay. Done. All right. So let's say it's 11 out of 10. Sure, it's the most amazing thing ever. You can't live without it. So now you have to run out and get an Xbox. Are you not going to be on your PlayStation anymore? You're not going to play the next Spider-Man or God of War?
Yeah, but you're just talking about one game.
On your PC.
If you release a great game every quarter, like Phil's trying to do, then it would surely help.
But that
would help. But that market share isn't just about how much the market you own; it's how much of the market you own exclusively.
It's about the games, and the reason why they can't own the market is because they don't deliver with the games. It's as simple as that.
Okay, but
Sony doesn't do anything special with PlayStation. They don't have features that Xbox.
Yeah,
they don't have features that Xbox doesn't have. They don't have the best online infrastructure. They don't have the best UI. They don't have the best
established franchises. They have established franchises that people like, and it's going to stay. Spider-Man will always be there. That's
you're going to walk away. Bro, look at it this way. If every single person on the planet who owned a PlayStation bought an Xbox, that wouldn't get them over 50% market share.
Wait, repeat that again?
If
every single person who owns a PlayStation in the world bought an Xbox tomorrow, Microsoft would still not have over 50% market share.
How so?
Because if everybody in the world owns a PlayStation and everybody in the world owns an Xbox, then you're still at only 50% of the market share.
Yeah, but I'm not saying that. Every PlayStation person. Share. But no. Well, you haven't finished. I'm not saying that every PlayStation person is just going to buy an Xbox and then that's it. I'm saying people are going to be gravitated to buy the Xbox, whether they're PlayStation people or not. And then when it comes to the next generation, maybe someone makes the decision: do I really want to buy a PlayStation? I mean, all my favorite games are on Xbox. Maybe I should just go there. That's why.
That's only if you don't like God of War and Spider-Man and all of these things. Mostly, it's a case of in addition to. Sony has themselves entrenched enough that you will buy a PlayStation most likely to play their exclusives. Even if you want to play all of Xbox games and you want to play all of their exclusives, you're probably
this is defeatist mentality at its highest. To be honest,
I don't know. What do you expect?
I don't know. I agree with that statement, man. I honestly do. You know,
no, it's like there's no. All the PlayStation people are just going to own two consoles for the rest of their lives, even if Microsoft is still doing good.
They do that with Nintendo.
I remember I said this fucking last gen. I'm like, the only way Xbox is going to beat PlayStation is if PlayStation does something stupid so people stop buying the consoles. And that hasn't happened.
Microsoft, they don't have the ability to just overtake market share unless Sony fumbles. And I think that's what they were getting at.
Yep. Yeah.
They're not saying that they don't need to release great games.
Unless Sony fumbles or unless there's something from the other side that's more compelling.
But again, why would you do either or if you can have both? Why would you not have a PlayStation if you want to have a PlayStation?
They're not releasing compelling titles. Well, the reason why Phil's mentioning all of this is because he wants to take the onus off of off his studios to release great titles. Be like, well, we're still going to be third anyways.
What?
No, he's just saying that's one of the things they need to do, but it can't be the only thing.
Yeah, I mean, if a new Disney World type competitor, look at like Universal, for example, came up and they were like, oh, we're going to have an amusement park. It can't just be all about Disney. It didn't replace it. People still go to Disney. They were like, well, they still see Disney as king, and then there's Universal. It's just one of those things. It's been around. It's established.
Yeah, but Disney it's there. Disney's a better product.
But there you go.
And PlayStation's a better product.
It's a better product.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If Microsoft can create a better product, then they'll overtake them. But they don't.
Here's my theory on that, Carlos. I think that ship has sailed.
Yeah.
I think, and whose fault is that? Microsoft, because they haven't delivered compelling products for an entire generation. I think they're so far back now. There is no overtaking it.
Yeah, so I don't think it's possible.
Yeah, it's not possible. I agree with
that. Unless Sony does something to drive away their own market base.
No, I agree. I agree with you guys.
You're going to sit down and be like, "This Xbox game is so good, I don't want to buy God of War."
I agree with you guys because Phil knows well in hand that he doesn't believe in his freaking games. So that's why he says that. But what I'm saying is, if he believed in his vision and all the games that like there were 11 out of 10 games every time they released them, then he would have more moxie. Then he would have more like competitive spirit and try to be
played like Redfall, and then everybody would attack him for bullshitting because they're like, well, you hyped it like it was a 10, and then now it came out and it's a 4. Now what do you have to say?
Well, that's your belief in the game, and if he doesn't believe in the game, then he's just hedging.
See,
you're not gonna get a Naughty Dog person or a God of War person saying, I don't know about this one, guys. They're always gonna hype up.
I agree. I've been one of the biggest advocates of they need to produce big games. They need to earn the trust back of people. But I still have to agree that even then, they're not going to overtake the market share. They're not going to stop being in third place by only releasing games. It's the combination of they need to release games and they need to release them. They need to release great games. But they also need to release them on Game Pass. Like, I think Game Pass is the thing they're trying to use to close that margin. It's not going to work unless they get great games on it. But I don't disagree with the statement that just making great games isn't going to be enough to solve this problem. And they need a multi-pronged solution.
Yeah, and Brett, this goes back to a question you asked like 2 months ago. It's like, what can Xbox do to kind of win over the gaming industry? And like even Phil's like, I don't know,
Well, that's because he doesn't believe in the studios to release the quality titles that Nintendo and Sony
what you want, but things are established, is what we keep saying. There are established franchises that it's not going to just make them
could have
disappear.
established itself with better games, but
well, you know what else was established? Gears and Halo, and they fucked that up.
Well, in your opinion, but I still like.
Sales wise, they have. That's objective.
But that's
why I like
what
sales.
That's it. It's me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. So you're going to say there's no way, even if the next Spider-Man flops, people are still going to buy Spider-Man. They're still going to support it. They're still going to support PlayStation.
Spider-Man, yeah.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. There's going to be those people that support it, and it's just established franchises. It takes time.
Halo was the biggest franchise in the world.
But dude, like I'm a walking example of this. I will almost definitely buy their next console because I want the next Bethesda game. Is that going to stop me from also buying a PlayStation? No, it's not. I want to play Spider-Man. God damn it!
Yeah, I want to play Spider-Man too.
Like, even though everybody on here is going to, I'm sure thinks that I'm just the world's biggest fucking Xbox. I have not owned a PlayStation since the PlayStation 1, so y'all can eat a dick.
Well, I mean, but you're not the general audience. Most people don't have multiple consoles.
Why?
Well, they've done the numbers. They do. At least the Nintendo one. Remember, that was the whole thing with the numbers.
We can't answer that question.
No, we can't answer that. It's because Microsoft hasn't put anything out compelling worth investing in their hardware. That's straight up. But even when they do, that doesn't mean they're not gonna. Doesn't mean they're gonna sell their PlayStation. Doesn't mean they're not gonna not buy another PlayStation. I mean, fuck. Gaming is getting expensive, but look at the PC side, man. People are dropping $1,200 on graphics cards. You telling me they can't afford 2 consoles?
Oh no, they can't. But people are very tribal when it comes to their consoles.
And that's why, Microsoft
goes back to Phil's point.
Yeah, they may gain a foothold, but I don't think they're gonna tempt people away from Sony. And I think it's frankly fucking ridiculous to think they are. Y'all call me an Xbot, but you really think that Sony or Microsoft is going to make such an unbelievable suite of games? They're going to be like, I don't even remember what Sony is. Yeah. I just forgot them and wandered off.
Real quick, J Shep wants me to show you and Adam something. I'll read it. Basically, somebody on Twitter said, I don't think Xbox needs to build great games to win the console race. They just need to build great games. And Phil Spencer replied, well said and true.
Yeah, they need to make great games. That's the very first thing that they need to do. But, and this is where Carlos and I differ, but that's not going to be enough by itself. You're never going to see Microsoft overtake Sony just by making awesome games. They need to do something else.
That's the reason why they're going into the gaming service business. That's what Game Pass is. It's the Netflix. That's why they have third parties. It's not just all first party stuff there. It's not just all their studios. It's third parties on there.
But it doesn't
focus on software.
But Game Pass doesn't work unless you start putting great games on it.
Yeah.
So it's part of the equation.
It's for years.
It's part of the equation. It's not the only part of the equation. The only way you're going to surpass Sony is by being more compelling. And by even if you have an equal amount of great games to what Sony has, that's not providing anything better other than maybe your personal taste. Well, if they want to objectively pull ahead, they need to produce great games and a better service.
Your premise is that they're going to be equally good if Microsoft is
in a best case scenario,
overwhelmingly better than Sony titles. That's where I'm like, I don't see where Sony Microsoft can't take the leg up if they have the money to have so many freaking companies and create a new studios and initiatives
stuff that's established.
All this stuff.
It's just stuff that's established.
And they can't and they just can't deliver. They haven't delivered.
So where do you propose Sony loses all this market share from? Do you think that people are going to migrate in this perfect world from Sony to Microsoft? Or do you think the next generation is going to come out and they're like, the last God of War just didn't hit me. Spider-Man is kind of meh, but I really want to play Bethesda games. I'm only going to buy one console?
But you're just thinking about it in a context where you're looking at the studios as they are right now. If they were the best versions of themselves, then there would be something that would compel people over the other. If Microsoft was a console where you can only play Call of Duty, where you can only play the badass Bethesda titles, the initiative actually lives up to whatever the name came up with, and all this stuff. Halo came back to glory, Gears came back to glory, Forza is the best racing game in the world. Then you'll get people going to that over the other. Okay, and Sony it's not like Sony. It's not like Sony's releasing. It's not like Sony's releasing hit titles every month.
I know that, but even in your scenario, why would I not buy a PlayStation even if Microsoft were that great?
You're one person that buys multiple consoles every generation. You're not the person that's part of that.
I don't think I'm that much of an outlier.
Scales. You are. How many people have an Xbox Series X and a PS5?
If that was the case, Nintendo wouldn't have the numbers that they have, and Sony wouldn't have the numbers they have.
Sony has over double the sales of a PlayStation 5 over the Xbox Series consoles. So there's not many people that have
Nintendo. We're talking about Nintendo. We're talking about number two.
Nintendo is
we already said that Xbox is not.
Nintendo number one. I don't know where number two is.
I don't see them as
they're number one.
There's a huge crossover of between people that own PlayStations and own Switches. They're just
but the Switch is a different console. You even admitted this. That was your mission statement when we started talking about the Switch. It's not in competition. Remember?
Correct. When we're talking,
there's no need for competition because they have established IPs. Mario, Luigi, all of that stuff. There's not Zelda. You can't take that away. Metroid. That's it. That's there.
Yeah,
there is no knocking that down.
Yeah, no, to be fair, Brett has consistently said the Switch is always your secondary console. He said that since day one, Anyway, Rich, I want you to get in here, man. What do you think of Phil's statements, Phil Spencer's statements about how the fact that, hey, listen, we're number 3 and we're not going to beat these guys.
Shit, they're number 4. Number 3, I would put PC above them.
Oh, shit. Hold on. Number 4.
Yeah, he said PC.
I would still.
But yeah, what would you think of Phil's comments in this? Because this would set the internet on fire. And then obviously all the Xbox guys, the Sony fan was like, "That's it. They admitted defeat. They lost the console war. They admitted defeat." They're like, okay,
they lost the console war when Xbox One launched.
Go ahead. Yeah, you're right. Shit.
I don't understand.
Rich, what are your thoughts, bro?
I guess I would have to go back and look on Google, but I could have swore that Phil Spencer had an interview some years ago where he already said they wasn't in competition with Sony.
I do. Yes, that's right. That's right.
So to me, it wasn't really anything new. I know a lot of people made a big deal about that. I do want to say, I saw a lot of funny reactions this entire week from all this stuff. You had some of the Xbox fans in denial, saying, "Oh no, Redfall is amazing," and obviously those people
smoking crack rock because that's not true.
Smoking crack rock.
No, but no. I mean, I didn't have a problem with what he said. I think I kind of understand. I understand the point that everybody made about the great games comment. I still want Microsoft to try to make great games, though. I'm not. I understand what he said. Yeah, no matter what they do, they're not going to be able to, be in real competition with Sony and Nintendo. That's fine, but they still have a responsibility to make good titles and at least try to make good titles, because I think the last IP that they had that was successful, I think, is Adam's IP, Gears of War. I haven't seen any other Microsoft title that has really
Forza probably is the next
one.
Oh
yeah, Forza. So Forza, Gears, and Halo. Those are their 3 flagship titles.
Halo's questionable at the moment.
Yeah, they've tried a bunch of other ones that have. Remember Crackdown? They tried that went nowhere.
Oh yeah, they did. They did try that. Yep.
They tried that went nowhere.
And Tony streamed that Crackdown.
Yeah.
That Sea of Thieves. That was supposed to be a big franchise.
I streamed that too.
We streamed that too. Adam Rage quit.
Adam Rage quit.
That's it. Like that's what. Who was it? It was the J Shep that keeps thinking I don't understand what he wants from me because I like one Xbox game and said that makes me a fanboy. I don't understand. I said if Gears is my game, but all my other ones I have nothing else. I mean, I if anything, I prefer more of the Sony PlayStation exclusives than
Rich
on Xbox.
Oh no, I agree. And you see, to go to what Carlos said, I want to see them to try and at least make some quality games to better identify other things that they can do. I mean, I look every time that Sony releases a game, whether it's Horizon or Ghost of Tsushima, you see Phil Spencer comment, "This is a great game. Shout out to the PlayStation team." Yeah. I'm like, Phil, you see this, right? So you know that you are in a position where you can have other IPs that you create that are also great on Xbox. I just don't understand what the issue is. Now, obviously, they did mention that there's a lot of stuff that is in development, but obviously we haven't gotten any updates. But I don't want him to be completely defeated to the point where he's not going to try to make great games. Don't worry about the competition if that's fine. I don't care about that, but I do want you to try to at least attempt to make some good games on the
console. I mean, that's a no-brainer. He loses his job and everybody else loses their job. That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. If you don't produce anything, then people start losing their jobs. That happens everywhere. That's just the way it is. So I'm sure that is the plan, but you got to see the big picture. To say that, we're going to overtake these established franchises, I can never see any.
Oh, yeah, that's not
even from Sony taking over Mario or Zelda. It's never going to happen. Never, not in my lifetime.
Oh no, and I don't want them to make great games with the goal of overtaking others. I just want them to make great games that stand out as these are the flagship titles you can get on Xbox.
And I bet you when it does happen, it's going to be one we don't see coming. It's going to be just like that fucking the shooter game that people play, the free to play. What's this fucking game?
There's a lot of them.
The one that's Fortnite. It's gonna be like Fortnite. No one saw it. Because when that game launched, remember, it was $30 and it was bullshit. Nobody wanted it. And when they added the whole battle royale and all that other shit onto it, then it took off. No one saw that coming, and turned into a fucking juggernaut that it is today.
See, here's the thing. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no. I just was going to say, I understand that Minecraft Legends just dropped. I'm gonna just be honest and say I don't give a damn about Minecraft. I know there are a lot of people out there that like that, but
my kids rage quit that one, and they like Minecraft. And they're like, "Oh, the new Minecraft out. Can we play this?"
It's not a Minecraft game.
We boot. Yeah, they're like, "What is this?" No, forget. I don't want this. And then that's it.
It's like when I played Sub-Zero for the Genesis. That wasn't
not a Mortal Kombat game.
A Mortal Kombat game.
That shit traumatized you, man. You still talk about that shit.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. All right, and then it kind of want to bring. Oh, go ahead, because I want to bring it back around. But go ahead.
Well, actually, yeah. Brett was going to say something, so let's go to Brett.
Yeah.
He was.
I was going to say, like, I didn't get where a lot of people were coming to the conclusion that, like I get where he was saying he was being a little bit self-defeatist, but it didn't sound like the goal was ever to not make great games. In fact, he said specifically that they intended to make great games, but that people should believe them about these great games until they have them in their hand and they're having a great time. But he specifically said that.
Yeah.
So
he said nothing what I say matters unless you're playing games that make you happy. He said that. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, very interesting. Go ahead, Rich. What were you gonna say?
Oh no, continue. I was.
That was it. I was just saying, like, I don't think ever he said that they weren't going to continue to try and make great games. That seems to be he's trying to encourage creativity and openness with his studios. It seems like that's the goal, but that they're not there yet. They're really trying, and that they even said, like, we learned from Redfall. Like, we put all hands on deck with Redfall. We got into the studio with that was earlier in development.
That's it. They didn't put all their hands on deck. That's what he said.
He didn't. Oh, by the way, real quick, Jay Shep, Phil Spencer did not say Starfield is going to be 11 out of 10. He said it could be that, and no one's going to sell their PlayStation. You got to take the whole quote into consideration there. And that's the other thing I kind of want to pivot to, kind of going back to the whole Redfall fiasco. Because this would have been kind of the crux of the matter of this podcast had it not been for the Phil interview. Starfield has a lot it has to carry a lot now. Like, this is
my God.
game. Like okay, here's the thing. Yeah, this is over. And it feels, by the way, Will Spencer said that too. He goes, if I get enough notches against me, I may not be here, because again, that's just business. If you can't go on for that long with all these failures and still keep your job. So if this doesn't land,
and Brett,
man, Uncle Phil,
it's gone. Uncle Phil's back at the woodshed. Brett, that is the game that he said was all hands on deck.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's one. All hands on deck for Starfield. So that's why.
Coalition guys on it.
If that game fails,
everything is riding on this game now.
Because that means that all these studios together can't build a house. That's it. It's done.
So hit.
Go ahead, Rich.
I just want to ask the question: Is Redfall going to get delayed, or is it still coming out in September? That's
Starfield.
I'm sorry. I meant Starfield.
The game is delayed because it has no 60 FPS right now, so may as well. It's who knows if it, because they got delayed before. Remember, they had the date locked 11/11. You know.
Yep.
He spoke of it in past tense. It sounded like he was saying that when we had problems with Starfield, we brought in everybody. And he said we got into that when they were earlier in development, so that allowed us to utilize more resources and bring in other developers to help get that fixed. So he kind of spoke about it in a past sense, which leads me to believe that they feel that they've got it under control and are probably still going to release in September.
Yeah, real quick, Jay Shep says, there's such a disconnect between this chat and the panel. It's so easy to misinterpret what is trying to be conveyed. I don't know what you mean by that. Is it because of the lag or because we don't agree with you guys? Because obviously, you guys in the chat want Phil Spencer's head, you know?
Yeah, I don't know what they want. I don't understand.
By the way, I will say... Oh, go ahead, Rich.
So, I don't understand what you guys... He goes, the convos move too fast. I don't think it's moving faster than normal conversations. I don't know. I don't know what you guys want. Anyway, go on.
Well, so I just will make a quick comment and say, to go to what you said, Tony. Yes, all the pressure is on Starfield. But I will also say once again, Matt Booty, the head of Xbox Game Studios, Starfield should not be the only game that Xbox releases for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting them to announce, because you see, Phil did mention Hellblade when he was talking about some of the games. So that made me think, is that game coming out this year or shortly thereafter? So I would hope that Starfield is not the only game we can look forward to.
I want that Indiana Jones.
I'll back up on what Rich said there and say not only is Starfield really important, but their Summer Games presentation is going to be vital this year.
Well,
that when I heard that, I'm like, how many fucking times haven't we heard that? How many times? Wait for E3. Wait for E3. I remember there was E3
before that. You didn't hear it this time because that was Paris that was so much. He didn't feel it.
No, but again, it's the refrain. We've heard this refrain so many times, you know. And I remember.
Yeah, go ahead. It's not wait for E3. It's you better bring it on E3. That shit has changed.
But again,
in
who gives
severity.
a fuck? Okay, again, E3 is not existing. But again, I don't give a shit what they show at this Summer Games Fest. It doesn't matter. Where's the games? You can't just go. Listen, we've had so many promises from this fucking company. I don't care anymore. Like, again,
I don't remember getting brownie points though. But do you not think that they're going to get media damage if they don't show anything? I feel like they're not digging themselves out, but they can dig themselves deeper.
Actually, I mean, remember the Activision Blizzard deal hasn't gone through, so they might not show anything. So they won't give them more ammo.
That'd be really bad. That'd be really bad.
That part went through already. That's not the issue. Remember, the games. The issue was with the games on the console. That's not the issue. It's cloud shit. It's cloud power, and that they're dominating. So it's not a games issue anymore.
By the way, I think Starfield. I did mention the whole thing. It's releasing in September, which is a kind of weird time for it to show up. I don't know why it didn't just get delayed till like November when the last year it was supposed to show up. But yeah, I'm with Tony.
Hold on, what the fuck are you talking about, Blitz? I've been saying this shit for years. Come on, son. He's saying that I'm finally expressing the frustration some of us in here have been feeling and trying to convey. I've been saying this for years. I am tired of the wait till E3 bullshit. I'm tired of it. I've been saying this shit.
I came up with wait for E3. It's been my talking point ever since I joined Throwdown.
Yeah, we've been saying this for fucking years. So I don't know where the finally came from. I've said it during this fucking show.
And if you go back to our archives, you can actually listen to us say it multiple times.
Throwdownshow.com to listen to past episodes. I've been saying this, man. Thank you, Mighty Nerd. He knows. I've been saying this forever. By the way,
what do you think he doesn't have an Xbox?
Yeah, forever.
I've been saying that too. Like, I'm not buying I bought an Xbox One. I'm like, that's the first and last Xbox I buy. Fuck that shit. No games. By the way,
I haven't owned an Xbox since the Duke, and to be honest, I haven't owned an Xbox since the Duke, and Adam was the one that gave it to me.
Yeah.
Hold up, we have actually had discussions on this panel. I know because I fucking brought up the question of what would Microsoft have to do to genuinely get back in people's good graces, and the overwhelming consensus is after they have performed, not until.
Yeah.
Like, we have been consistent on this shit. And the only thing I was saying there was, like, look, if they don't show anything, it's not even like wait for E3. It's like they run the risk of doing irreparable damage if they're mum again this year.
Yeah, well, their showcase is coming, so... But again, at this point, I don't give a fuck.
But by the way,
I'm tired of it, man.
By the way, the conference is going to come up in June, right?
June.
And Phil's going to do a lot of talking in that conference. But Phil also said, "Don't believe anything I've said."
Well, for the games, it's up to what you play. But here's the thing: it's before that even happens. Is with the CMA, with the appeal that happens in May. The EU is on the 23rd, I think, is when the EU. So if the EU approves it, then that's it. They can go forward. They don't even need to worry about the CMA. So then that changes a lot what they could probably show off or announce if he does want to talk about anything.
Well, I think they're probably willing to take the hit with the EU, to be really honest. After the backlash they got last time from not showing anything, I think they'd be real dumb
Oh well, besides that, they have to have all these studios are working on shit. It just is that any of it any good? The only thing I know of is Indiana Jones. Does anybody know anything else? That's all I know.
Wait, hold on, Adam. You're talking about the movie, right? Because we know that game ain't coming out no time soon.
The game. That's what I want to know. We saw that trailer for that game like 3 years ago. Definitely before the pandemic started.
I mean, and the Fable trailer came out like 3 years ago. That shit ain't coming out anytime soon.
Well, that got restarted a bunch of times, right? That we at least know had issues. I haven't heard anything about this Indiana Jones game besides the guys that did Wolfenstein.
And Dead Island's trailer came out 10 years ago.
Well, that changed hands multiple times, though.
Yeah.
That's
real quick here. My man, Mr. Jolly Yellow, what's going on, brother? He goes, when it comes to E3 time, Xbox better have a policy of if it doesn't have a hard date on the calendar, don't mention it. I agree with that sentiment, but as we know, a hard date doesn't mean shit. A game going gold doesn't mean shit nowadays. You know? Thank you, Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk went gold and silk into it,
Yep.
Well,
and that's where the Phil quote comes in. The only thing you can trust is yourself playing it and be like, damn, this is a butter game.
Yeah.
That's it.
So I will say
really
this.
Like Hi-Fi Rush.
There you go.
Yeah, Hi-Fi Rush is good. So I will say this. Yeah, we shouldn't listen to Phil, but one thing I am going to say is when they did announce this showcase, they announced that there would be a Starfield Direct right after the showcase.
That's right.
So that makes me wonder. They should be talking about a hell of a lot of stuff at this Xbox event if they're having a separate showcase for Starfield immediately after this. But I don't know.
I got to look it up because they had a breakdown of this is how long the showcase is going to go on for. This is how long the Starfield thing's going to go on for. I'll look it up.
Well,
but yeah,
he said in the interview that they are going to make some announcements and some updates on some of these projects because he was asked point blank about them, and he said, and that's why I say, like, I feel like he wanted to give the answer, but he kind of had to give the whole wait for E3 answer of like, we're going to give you some updates on these things. We're going to announce a few other things. It's like, okay, that's great.
Well, that's because it's not his call. It's marketing. They paid another group to deal with all that other shit. He was on this just to own up and just clarify. Yeah, we fucking up. This is what happened. This is what I did.
Yeah, it's just a great limitation. Great example of the limitation between the right hand and the left when you're dealing with things like corporations. Like, what would have been best would be to reassure fans with transparency and information. Was that an option? Not really, but it still would have been best.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I want to hear about is Gears. That's all I care about. I don't care about Starfield. I don't care about other racing games and others. That's all I care about. It's what makes me happy. I still play old ass games, so I don't give a shit.
When was Gears supposed to come out? Gear 6?
Last year. It was supposed to come out last year, and then they said, "Well, we're going to move it to the new engine. We want to get on the new Unreal Engine." And then they released Unreal 5. Remember, they did that trailer and show Marcus Phoenix walking with the flame in his hand, the fire reflection off of the rocks around him and stuff, and that they were working with them to port everything over, and that's going to take time. That's what they said. It's going to take time. They didn't give a date or say next year, nothing. And that's it. That's the last we heard of them.
See, I'm more focused on the stuff that they haven't. Like, I cannot honestly wait to hear Tony's take on Starfield.
It's going to be a Bethesda game,
But it could be a Bethesda game. It looks like it has a lot of Mass Effect feel to it. So if it's a Bethesda game mixed with Mass Effect, that'd be right up your alley.
Yeah, but again, as I've said, despite the bullshit I give Bethesda games, I like them. I like the Fallout games.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. Like if you take like the way a Fallout game is built and put a Mass Effect skin on it, that could be a very Tony game, or it could very not be a Tony game. It is. It could go all over the place.
But Fallout games are Tony games.
Yeah, but you don't have like it depends on if it's bad or not. Like when Bethesda doesn't do well, you don't like it.
What do you mean? I've only because I haven't played Skyrim, so I can't judge that game. But I
guess what I'm saying, it's very open world, find your own adventure, but it's very much flavored as something that you like. So I'll be interested to hear your takes on it. And I think that you are a very good example of a solid in the boat PlayStation user reviewing a
user. What the fuck are you talking about? Bethesda, I play Bethesda games that weren't exclusive. You're like, what the hell does that even mean?
I like it. User. I want a shirt that just says user.
That was a long way of calling me a fanboy. I'm stopping this. Brett, no, just say it directly. Say it directly, man.
I'm not saying what you think I'm saying.
No, you are absolutely saying what I think you're saying.
Yo, man,
you are saying since you're a PlayStation fanboy, I want to hear your take on this because it's an Xbox exclusive.
No, I'm more thinking like you stand PlayStation first, like that's your primary console. Nothing weird with that.
Okay.
And you're usually pretty critical of Xbox, and so it'll be good. Like no matter if I say good or bad.
And I've said this on this. I love the fact that this is a show that's recorded. I've always said I don't see this game as an Xbox game. I see it as a Bethesda game,
and that's fine.
I'm not judging it as an Xbox game.
Let me put it this way, man. No matter what. And no matter how good Starfield is, nobody's going to listen to my ass when I say shit about it.
Well, we don't know about that. I will play it on PC because I don't have an Xbox, obviously. So, Brett, that whole notion kind of gets dissuaded because I'm going to be playing on PC anyway. You know,
bro, that's what I'm saying. Is you're more neutral party.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I took it the other way, so the chat.
No. Like,
man, it sounded like you were saying, with great power comes great responsibility. Like the way they said it in Amazing Spider-Man. Literally.
No.
But
yeah, like y'all have to understand. I'm coming at it from my internal point of view, and that's like I'm a Bethesda fanboy, right? Like, no matter what I say, like people should probably ignore my opinion about it because I've loved just about all the Bethesda games. Like I'm straight up being real with y'all. So like even if it's just meh, it's a meh Bethesda game, I'll probably have the fucking time of my life. What I'm really interested in is somebody like Tony who has no obligation towards either side. He has no reason to stand Xbox. He's not necessarily a huge fan of Game Pass. He's a pretty impartial arbiter. So and also like this game, like I said, it could be very much in his wheelhouse. It could be very much outside his wheelhouse. So there's a big X factor here, and I'm really interested to hear what Tony has to say.
Hold up. You call it Tony an arbiter?
I don't think there's an X factor. If it's literally Fallout in space, I'm gonna like it because I like Fallout. Like to me, it's just I'm already gonna like this game. But obviously, I'm going in there skeptical because this is Bethesda. You know, as much as like Fallout 3, that's still what Fallout 3 is simultaneously one of the best and worst games I've played ever. Simultaneously.
Yeah, but there's a lot of wiggle room between Fallout and Mass Effect for you.
Yeah, but Mass Effect is a more directed, thing. I'm not expecting it. This is a big open world game, but obviously, me, I'm very mission focused. I'm not going to be doing all this crazy shit. I'm just going to be like, okay, let's do the missions. With
the planets, I imagine it's going to be a little bit like, the planets separating things out. It's not one big open world anymore. Like you're going to go places for reasons. So like, I kind of feel like this is going to be I kind of feel like this is honestly. If I could have in a perfect world, this would actually be a pretty great fusion between a Brett and a Tony game. Like this is where the Venn diagram meets and crosses.
Yeah, we'll see about
maybe.
That. And that's going to be something I'm going to like try to do. It's like, okay, this is a big sprawling open galaxy game. Let's call it that. How focused can I stay? What is the main path? I'm going to try to stick to the main path as much as possible.
Unless they have table tennis on the ship, I probably won't play it.
Yeah.
But think about it. I mean, this is the interesting thing. The whole thing with Starfield, the whole exploration is going to be a big part of the game. If Mass Effect, if you like Mass Effect for its exploration, the game sucks.
Yeah, there's not a lot of exploration.
It's more about the narrative that makes Mass Effect compelling.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Well, the narrative and the choice and the you get to take a pretty open approach to it. But yeah, it's definitely not anywhere as open as
you follow the little beeping noises on a planet. Let's go explore that. Beep beep beep. All right, let's go there. Let's go. Let's kill something.
Yeah, I got my minerals.
All right, let's start wrapping up. So, any last thoughts about anything we discussed tonight, Rich? Any last thoughts?
I guess.
Rich, wait till E3, I guess.
You guys just jump in freestyle. Say whatever you need to
Steam
say.
Deck for the win. Steam Deck for the. It brings so much happiness to my life. Yeah, it's just something about
play Starfield on it.
I'll probably play everything. I play everything already on it. I mean, literally, things that I'm not allowed to play, I play on it.
Starfield is a game you're looking forward to?
No, I am not. I'm not.
But it's going to be on Steam Deck though, so
it'll be on there, and then I'll give it a shot. There you go. That's it. It makes me happy. It makes me happy. I can play all the stuff. I play my PlayStation games, I play my Xbox, play my old PC and old console games. It's all in one place, and that's Color. What I like. Well, I got the other. Oh man, I put that IPS version 4 screen on my 1989 Game Boy. Fucking looks.
Damn.
It's amazing from every angle. I just can't believe it. Makes me so happy. And all I'm gonna.
I love how Adam always injects the Steam Deck into every conversation.
Well, you have to
because it's awesome.
It's an awesome device. I'll probably have to play it again now. I'm playing all these old things on it. Some stuff that I never finished. I already own them on other platforms, but it's right in front of my face, literally in my hands. Why not? Let me go back through it. Finish up some old shit, Shadow of Mordor, going through some of the other ones, the Rise of the Tomb Raider, there's a bunch of old shit, but it's there and I can play it, and that's what I love about it. Even as shitty as The Last of Us was performing on it, it was still fun to play at 15 frames per second. I was like, look what I can do in front of me, and I'm done. So yeah, go support it, get one, be happy.
Yeah,
I really do feel like the next. Kind of even calling back to the question of like how many more chances do they get? Like, I feel like the general consensus is like Xbox has about the next 6 months. Yeah, it's this. It's this.
Like, this Starfield.
You have to deliver with Starfield, and you have to give. But even if you deliver Starfield, like you got to give some people some things to look forward to concrete. It doesn't matter whether you should believe them or not. You got to have something there. And it's kind of the opposite side of the coin from, got to have something. It's not that they have to have something that's in development works. It's that they are required to have something not to get the gang beat down from the internet. So they need to perform on two fronts. And if they don't, genuinely, they can probably just write off this generation. And that's
everything off. It's done. If that's the case, it's done. Then it's just a service. They get rid of their out of the console business. They're like, hey, we got Game Pass. We're a software company. We've always been Microsoft, that is, and that's it. That's what we're gonna be doing. That way, you can't bitch about anything. Phil, he's going back to the quickie market. He's gone.
Yeah,
and that's it. Because
guess who's looking for a job right now? Mr. Phil Harrison.
Phil Harrison. Yep.
You want me back? I can revolutionize your company with digital content. I've done it twice.
No.
And one of them got sold to Sony. That nobody gives a shit about that. And then I destroyed a division of Google. But don't worry, it's okay. I can usher in the future.
I'm telling you, the best case scenario, and this is I don't even think it'll be possible, but if this is the best case scenario, during this showcase, they show a ton of games, and they all have release dates that are within this year, and they're guaranteed, and they do at least another stealth job like they did with the Hi-Fi Rush, but with a big name title that people would care about and are surprised, wow, we get this one, and that they're all hits. That's the best case scenario. I don't think will happen, but that would be the only thing that would really spark serious interest. Because even though we're hyped and you guys seem to be hyped about Starfield, I think a lot of the casuals, when we talk about, they don't know what this shit's about. They don't know any of this stuff because it hasn't really been advertised on TV or anything.
Casuals know Skyrim.
They know Skyrim. They know Skyrim, but Starfield. They know Starfield.
Skyrim in space. That was the most brilliant marketing tagline fucking ever. Because every casual went, I played Skyrim. I like spaceships.
Well, we'll see. So they all this stuff has to be there, and they have to have some dates.
Have something.
We know they're gonna have something because they're gonna have it, but it's gonna be stuff that people want. That's the other shit. What do people want?
Games.
But what game? No, I'm killing. That's not the case. You can release games and be shitty games. No one wants a bunch of shitty games. We don't need more Redfalls. We want quality.
Game Pass games.
Yeah, I mean, and this is why we wanted a racing game. We got a racing franchise. You want this? Got that? I want my table tennis. Am I ever going to get it? No. but I would like to have something similar. I want a good arcade hockey game. I'm going to get that? No. But I can hope. And the things that I like, but I don't know. And they don't know what people like. If they did, they would have a bunch of banger games, and they don't have them. They just keep flopping.
Where's my deluge of Western RPGs?
Yeah, they're supposed to come, right?
They were supposed to.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of is riding on Starfield's shoulders.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, almost too much. Like I'm not sure if it can
more now
honestly
that
live up to
Redfall
the hype.
failed.
Well, think about it. They thought it was a surefire bet with Halo in, right? They were like, "This is Halo. Come on, now we're gonna get everybody back. Big open world, blah 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 blah." And that flopped, and they weren't ready for it, and that ruined everything. Because if that was a hit, because they're still releasing content for it, then they wouldn't be having this conversation. They wouldn't be stressing because they were like, "Well, at least we got Halo." Well, right now they have nothing. They have nothing.
Yeah, I'm not sure anything like the hype being put on the shoulders of Starfield. I don't know if it's. I mean, this isn't fucking Elden Ring, right? Like that shit never lives up to it. So I think at this point, like, no matter what, people are going to criticize the fuck out of Starfield, even if it's good. Is my worry, and like. I feel like Microsoft may put themselves in a losing position by putting so much riding on this one thing that you kind of end up with an unsustainable hype train. You set yourself up to fail, even if you do a decent job. That's my concern. Like my very, we talked about perfect world scenarios. My fear is that Microsoft just bungles it so hard they get out of the console game and we are then truly left with a monopoly. You know, the one thing that everybody's been supposedly fighting against, even though that's not actually what they've cared about at all.
Yeah. So last thing for me.
Hold on, that's a good point you bring up, though, Brett. It's like, okay, there's some certain people that don't want the acquisition to happen because they don't want, like, you know, like a monopoly to happen, but then they also want Xbox to fail. But if that happens, then Sony will have a monopoly. You know, I just had to throw that out there. Anyway, Carlos, go ahead.
Yeah, just the last thing about the whole Phil interview. You know, I know a lot of the guys in the chat might not like the first few lines, but the last few lines. I feel like this was really good from Phil Spencer.
Yeah, that was a good showing.
You know, this level of accountability, at least you know, just from the public facing aspect is something that we never get from anyone else. And, you know, he was humiliated, you know, he showed that he was, you know, humiliated by everything that's been going on, and it sucks, you know, it's unfortunate. So, you know, I got to give him credit for doing the interview, but I also will say, and this is a part that you guys will like, his ass is in the fucking fire, man. His job has never been at most at risk than it is today, and it is in the next couple of months. And it's something that will make or break his legacy, because you know he was the one that was supposed to right the ship with Xbox, and it looked like he was heading in the right direction, and potentially could just crash and burn.
Man, the way from that Xbox On documentary portrayed everything is that they were close to just shutting down the whole project until Phil took over. Like they were like, you know what, this TV didn't work, the console's not doing well, we're just gonna back out. And he's the one that came up with this idea. Well, if we do this, focus more on games, do a Game Pass service, and then that's it. So it's all him. They put all this money. Think about it, buying all these studios and now this active. All this is for him to build this dream of the Netflix of gaming. And if you can't produce quality games to bring people to the platform, it's done. And I think it's not just for him, it's for the whole thing. I just can't see anyone else. They're like, oh, well, we're getting Phil out and we're going to bring somebody else in. There's nobody that can fill this or do this. And they'll just scrap it. We're done.
Nobody that can fill this role?
Not like that. I ain't fill it.
But tips.
Sad.
Yeah. We'll have to wait. Oh man. Yeah. Go ahead, Rich.
Yeah. So I just was going to comment. Will Carlos say yes? Phil's ass is in the fire. So So, do you think Phil is also telling his bosses wait till E3 now?
He might be.
Oh, I'm sure. No. I'm sure they're taking a page out of this whole scenario. Like, no, we're not waiting. You show us now what you have to show. You show now. None of this surprise. You learned from the surprise. And look what happened. You got to thumb up the butt. Listen, we want to see it now. Come to our office. Wait, what? Paris and who are these? I don't know who these people are. Kind of nothing. That's what it's like. You show up in our office right now with your little laptop and you show us all this shit. And we'll do a little Zoom meeting or Teams, whatever, to get these studios that say they have shit done. We want to see it. We want to see it now or else that's it. Back to the quickie mark.
Then all Pig Dan shows up now. He's like, hold up, I just joined. Thumb up the what?
Yo, Big Dan, you joined mad late. You got to catch up on.
Yeah, you got to catch up. This is a fire episode, man. I already knew this was going to be a classic Throwdown episode, man.
Dude, here's the other thing though.
Yeah,
I would not want to be working for Phil Spencer right now. I would not want to be somebody that gets called into his office in the next fucking week.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's no emails. There's none of that Ubisoft email going around. They don't want any leads. It's all face to face.
Someone's getting fired. So I don't know how far down the hill that shit's gonna roll, but somebody's getting fired.
Yeah, when your boss has to go out and fucking make a public apology and own up to shit, heads are gonna roll.
Yeah, they're gonna have a week of meetings.
Mm-hmm.
It's not gonna be pretty.
It's the same thing we saw with 343. And the same thing. Listen, we're going to work. We're going to get this shipped on the right direction. We're going to do that. And then next, we saw all these people leave and layoffs.
Yep. All right, man. Let's start wrapping up. Rich, I want to thank you for being on tonight, man. It's always good to have you on. What's going on with the coalition, man? Where what's going on with the site? And where can people find you? All that good stuff. Plug your stuff, sir.
Yes, thank you for having me on for sure. Coalition, there's a lot of things coming up on the site. I will say right now, for those expecting some type of Zelda review, do not expect that because Nintendo does not like to send codes to everybody. But we got plenty of other things we'll be covering.
You could just do what Kotaku did and just talk about the Yo, what low down shit was
he
that,
an
man?
Editor, so he was like. Yeah. That's sad.
And you guys know me, man. I got no love for fucking Nintendo, but that shit was filthy what Kotaku did, man. That was disgusting, man. Yellow journalism, as Torrance would call it, scumbags, man. That was fucked up. Yeah, man. So I guess people just have to wait for that review, right? Right, Rich, for Zelda.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But yeah, we got some stuff on the way, so stay tuned for that, and of course. Follow me on Twitter, Rich Bailey Jr. Follow the Coalition Gaming Channel as well. And we are going to be bringing back Adam's favorite show, Fear the Walking Dead, later this month. So stay tuned for that because we'll be recapping those episodes for I Am Negan.
I know that show, man. Oh my Lord! Before all the pushbacks, I don't know. I don't know how they were doing. Yeah, they kept rescheduling the dates and shuffling shows. Right, Dead City was supposed to already have been out. Then they pushed that, and whatever. We'll see. Yeah, definitely this month.
Yeah, Joe Soy Negan.
Oh, wow.
It'll be on Telemundo.
The Duke. Yeah, you guys want all that shit back, Oh, man. All right, man. So thank you for checking us out. Make sure you follow Throwdown on Twitch and Twitter. Join the Discord. The Discord was popping this week, man. Holy shit. Mm-hmm. Crazy stuff, man. Good stuff going on there. You can also find us on any podcast app, your favorite podcast app of choice, Throwdown Show. Throwdownshow.com to listen to past episodes. And if you've been watching us on YouTube and enjoyed the content, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified of when our premieres go live. Links to everything down below. Once again, I was your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
See you next time.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
Don't worry, Brett. I also think Tony's a pony as well.
Adam Vale.
Man, go play that Street Fighter 6 demo. It's fun. It's good.
Yeah, it is fun. Yeah. Go check out my preview too, man, over on Tom's Guide. With some good stuff about it. I'm surprised. Really? Good game. Brett Murdoch.
Hey, he's an enthusiastic PlayStation user.
Brian Manjoma.
Can we just not get a broken $70 AAA game this year, please?
How dare you say that? That's what gives the character. It gives character to the game. You want the glitches. You like it.
That's why you like Bethesda games, apparently.
YouTube would go out of business. There would be no content if everything was, Angry Joe would be back at it.
He wouldn't be happy. He'd be happy, Joe.
Happy Joe with 10 subscribers because people don't like happiness.
Yeah.
Ryan's just one of those people that likes his audio to sync up with his video during cutscenes.
Yeah, and we are obviously talking about Jedi Survivor, like on PC. That's spooky. The Force was not with that game, but it's good on PS5. Play on PS5, and of course, Mr. Richard Bailey Jr.
Play any game on Xbox except Redfall.
Play Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah. We'll be back on the Sunday show. I already know you guys are going to have questions about this, so please throw them at us, man. Anything else that you think we didn't cover on this show, let us have it, man. We'll be like, hit us with those hard questions like Phil Spencer got hit with. Let's fucking go, man.
Put us under the, what do you call it?
Yo, Tony, why is you a pony? All right, people.
That'll be from me.
All right, people. Yeah, right. Yo, who's this Euro car motherfucker? All right, people. We will see you on the Sunday show and May 11th. Watch my Twitter feed. That's all I'm gonna say about that. May 11th. You already know. I have something here that May 11th. That's all I'm gonna say about that. So we'll see you on Sunday and on May 11th. Later.
You reviewing beds?
Yeah, beds, man. La cama, that's behind me.
Well, you know what happens on the 12th, so I don't know if a lot of people be listening to anything else.
Zelda?
Besides Zelda, it's the 12th.
I know what I'm not going to fuck about that.
I know you know.
All right, people. We'll see you, man. Later.
Deuces.
Peace.